This is Dean's trick. Rub my finger over it. Kind of smudges it a bit. Adults. Keep us in dream world. So, I'm in Winchester. Welcome to the stream. Before I forget, I want to say thank you to Mark Swabrick, who donated some useful money to me the other day. $20. It all helps, and we're able to maybe get some food or top up the fuel, etc. So if you enjoy the stream today, please consider making a small contribution, buying a coffee, something like that. So, I've asked this question today. I'm hoping to have conversation, not argument. I put measured. I misspelt it, but I've had to repair it. And last time I was here in Winchester, I was with Dean and Sarah actually. We were just down there, a little bit down the way. But that shop is now, well, nearly open. But this actually was all boarded up because it was under construction. I did write on the board, but it's now got almost perfect railings for me to attach the banner to. The banner, I've been thinking I'd love to change it, actually. I'm going to St. Ives, and I'm hoping to coax Jason of the Disbury family onto the street with me when I'm down in Cornwall for a few weeks. So look out for that. I'm grateful to be here in the sun, actually. I'm grateful to be in the sun right now. And wow, the moon was amazing last night. I hope you've been looking at it. Watching the moon. Watching her rotate. You too. Hopefully we'll go for a few hours and have some good conversations here in Winchester. I've always been fascinated by this thing here. Like it's just said to be placed here for some kind of memorial or whatever, but it also feels like it could have come off a building.
And I think
that's what it feels like. But it's got like 1800s sort of timestamps, I think, where MDCCC 1865. And this is interesting. If you want to just pause that, you can check that out. And I think that all of this construction here is added on to extend now these smaller shops. They've got a very small height. although the one above was a lot taller. So some of the floor, or a floor and a half or more, whatever, was lost. And they extend these buildings out in order to kind of make more of them. I suppose I have to chalk over there where people are walking in. Okay. I thought I'd get some of the chalk down before I started the stream, just to just to keep the stream a little bit more punchy. See, I put a little bit of a flat earth model in there.
All right.
Good day.
Hello.
How are you?
Good, thank you.
Good. Can I send you with a flyer? I got some information on the electromagnetic universe that I find fascinating and
Sure.
informative.
Yeah. Let's have a look at that. Thank you.
Sure. We can't prove that the Earth is spinning. We can't do an experiment to prove it that the Earth is spinning, or that water is going to curve over its surface. Water is always level when at rest. We've never measured it to be curved. We see what we think is curvature, but if you try and measure it, you can't find it. So all bodies of water are level. That's why we say across the pond when we're going to America, because we're going over a level body of water.
No, I haven't actually thought about that. That's so true.
No, we have to hang on to theories or
Yeah.
theologies and beliefs that we're given when we're 7 years old, before critical thinking is developed.
Yeah.
To say, you can't feel spin, it's too big for you to feel the spin, don't worry that it's spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. They don't tell you it's 1,000 miles an hour, faster than the speed of sound. They don't tell you to think about how that could be possible in a physical world where we know that when we move through the air, we leave the air behind us. It causes a certain amount of drag as we run through the air. And our buildings and mountains and trees would surely be dragging through the air. But no, don't worry about that. The air's just moving along with it at 1,000 miles an hour. Planes are flying without any regard to the fact that it's spinning so fast. They just somehow are carried along with the current of the spin. None of this makes sense. And then they take you down to the beach and say, look, there's a ship going away down, hull first, and that explains curvature. But then when you grow up and you hear that, by the way, if you try and look 30, 40 miles on a clear day over the sea, you can see objects, shorelines, that you shouldn't be able to see according to the formula for curvature of a ball, the size they say it is. And that's what I discovered 10 years ago, was that, wow, I've actually never been shown how to measure curvature over water. We've always assumed water level, but eventually curves beyond where we can see it. But when you start to break that down into manageable chunks like 10 miles and 5 miles, you know that there has to be a certain amount of curvature on a constantly bending ball. We can't find any evidence of that. Just anecdotal, I can't see this, or this has gone away. But when we look at the world record longest photograph over water, it's 250 miles or longer. And
Wow.
people have seen further than that. And things like lighthouses can be seen for 80 miles. And if we lived on a ball curving, that should be impossible, because light travels in a straight line. It won't bend around the corner of the globe. So why I go out and tell people this information is because I think it has significant relevance to us personally. Because I think that instead of being some kind of lucky strike, big bang, evolved ape that happens to be in the Goldilocks zone, this place was created on purpose. And if it was created on purpose, it was created with you in purpose. And you might be, as I've asked this question here, we might be whatever God is, we might be it expressing itself in fractal form, in the form of you and I, in a brief moment of time, but it's an eternal story. And we are the center of the universe, and we should not be held down by controllers, shall we say. We should be our own master, and we should exist in harmony with those around us, but we should not be, our energy should not be usurped in the way that it is in the modern times.
Interesting.
And I think if people understood this, and that we didn't really need masters, we were our own master, we have a divine spark given to us by the creator of all that is. If we understood that, without need for dogma or religion, then we would perhaps love each other in the way that we were meant to, rather than be divided by religion or politics or color or what, national borders or all these sorts of things. And so when you go beneath the surface of that, you see that there have been, or there is, a controlling element to the world affairs of the last few centuries, at least perhaps even millennia, that there has been a design or a designer down here on earth among us controlling the narrative. Thus, we would never take our own sovereignty back. We would always be in a cage, enslaved by this idea that there is something greater than you, and you are to be subservient to the king or to Jesus or to whatever. That there is a something more than you that you have to be bowing to, when in fact you are it. You are, like I say to people, like the Russian dolls, the nested dolls, Matryoshka they call them. There's 7, and the smallest one would be us, and the largest one would be God, perhaps. And so we are it, but just a fractal, a smaller version of it. But we've been put into a cage, set against each other, and turned into, fairly devolving light rather than evolving. And so I think that the world could be a much brighter place if we understood that, everything is set against us, that the history that's written, that the science that's created about what's good for you medicinally or food-wise or whatever, all of these things are actually designed to lower our frequency, lower our potential, rather than enhance us. So going back to nature, understanding our connection to the earth, to all that is, that we are the temple of God within the temple of God. How does that sound?
Interesting. So it sounds very, very, very interesting. Am I going to
food for
look
thought.
at it?
Yeah,
Exactly. Lots of thought.
Yeah. Have a nice day.
Thank you. You too.
All the best. Hope I wasn't too preachy then. Just a little water. Throat's a bit dry. Is it? There's a frisson of anxiety that comes with standing in the street by yourself. Truthfully, because, well, anything could happen. We live in strange times, and people are more or less affected by, I'm going to get music, which means I might get a copyright strike on this. I keep getting copyright strikes on my videos these days. Nice accompaniment, but yes, I don't know how it affects the views, it's not a penalized copyright strike, it's just like I guess if I was monetized advertising, but they apparently, once they copyright it, they can take that, they can go and, if they want to, which they probably don't, but if they wanted to, they could go and advertise this, make money from it. Earth is flat, not a spinning globe. We've been lied to about rocks in space. It's fake. NASA faked space. Did you know that? NASA faked space. NASA faked space. No, we never landed on the moon. Never landed on the moon. I saw it on TV. We never landed on the moon. Space is fake. Elon Musk is a deep state CIA, by the way. Earth is flat, not a spinning globe in space. Rocks don't float in space, and gas doesn't coalesce. It fills the available space. Earth is flat, not a spinning globe. Want some information? A little late with the flyer, it was a bit. Yeah, Earth is flat, water will always going to find level. Water will always find level when at rest. Water will find level on the flat Earth. It's an electromagnetic system, not a ball in space. Nice old clock there. They tend to have them in these old high streets. I'll give you a little zoomage. I'm early. Hey, 4 Jacks and my friend Nathan, the squirrel sniper. I've still got your torch, bro. So, we had a good time at the old festival. Earth is flat, not a spinning globe. We've been deceived about where we live and who we are. are we God? I'm asking the question. It's a big question. It's a big question. Could it be that we are God? Inside God? Earth is flat, not a spinning ball. Water's always going to find level. Water always finds level. Water will run downhill and find level. Earth is flat. Earth is not a spinning globe. Yeah, put a bit of chalk down over there. Oh, nice to see you, by the way, guys. Really, and for Jax, you are amazing for your support, by the way. So, yeah, you know, as I said at the beginning, it doesn't have to be a lot, but you know, every day life costs money, doesn't it? So, food and fuel. So, you know, it never sort of ends the thing. So, you know, have a little bit dripping in here and there makes such a difference. So, please do. Earth is flat, not a spinning globe. We've been lied to about space travel. They never landed on the moon. The International Space Station is a swimming pool hoax. It's all done in a swimming pool and by Hollywood CGI. Earth is flat. Earth is flat, not a spinning ball in space. Rocks do not float. Gas dissipates to fill the available space. It will not form a rock. It will not form a planet. Yeah, I hope you're doing well, Matthew. All is good there. And all of you, all Jack. Et al. Hello, ma'am.
Hi.
Hi.
Have you got the council's authority to do this?
Do you know who I am?
No. Do tell.
Well, I am the living expression of God. And unless you and I have some prior agreement, ma'am, I don't think that I have to engage with you.
No.
And I wonder if you have got the council's permission.
You see, the council and Winchester Business Improvement District
Yes.
pay an awful lot of money to keep these slabs clean.
I'm not. I'm only putting a bit of chalk down, ma'am.
Yeah, and
you know, like when you went to school, the
Are you
teacher put
going
chalk on the
to,
board.
Are you going to clear it up afterwards?
I don't think so. I'll let the rain take care of it.
It's not forecast to
This
rain
is-
for some considerable time.
Really, that's unusual.
It is, isn't it, in
Yeah.
this country?
Yeah.
We've
We had some
quite
rain
a
this
lot.
week. But yeah, it's street art, ma'am. There's nothing rude here. There's nothing to be
Sure,
concerned about.
sure.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
Earth is. pretty busy right now. Earth is flat, not a spinning rock. Earth is flat, not a ball in space. NASA never landed on the moon. The moon landings were a hoax to make you believe we live on a ball in space, but water always finds level. Water runs downhill, but always finds level. Earth is 70% water. How can we live on a ball? But for a belief in gravity. Earth is flat, not a rock in space. Space travel is faked. The only thing NASA ever took to space was your imagination. Earth is flat. Not getting stoppers today. NASA is Disney for liking that. Earth is flat, Winchester. Water is always going to find level. The oceans are level. They are not a ball. You would fall off a ball. You can't walk underneath a ball. The Earth must be flat in order for us to survive. Space is fake. We never landed on the moon. Space is fake. We never landed on the moon. You only saw the moon landings on TV. But they can put anything on TV, don't you know? Water is always going to find its level. That's why we say sea level, water level. Because water is always going to find level, and Earth is 70% water. Therefore, Earth must be flat. Take a flyer.
Very round.
Like an orange. What's in the center of the orange? The fruit.
Huge orange.
Can't walk under a ball, mate. But your imagination has been tricked since you were 7 years old. Earth is flat.
Earth is round. It's a globe, not
globe?
flat. Never was flat.
Have you ever
It's
measured?
a globe.
Okay. Have you ever measured the Earth? Have you
I
ever sailed?
have it all here, but I won't really get into it.
Because
That is a wrong message. You're absolutely wrong.
So we can't measure curvature over water.
Well,
Water
yes.
is always going to find level.
No, you can do that.
Water.
It's a-
Can you give me an example?
It has AI, artificial intelligence. You can measure every millimeter of everything on the planet.
And water's always going to find level, sir. Earth is flat, not a spinning globe. You can't spin in space. You can't walk in space. We've never put a man in a vacuum chamber in a spacesuit because they cannot achieve this. We would not be able to survive if we were against a vacuum. The second law of thermodynamics demands containment. Earth is contained and unmoving, just like it says in the Bible. Earth is contained and unmoving. There is a roof, a dome, a firmament over the top of our world. But Earth is flat because water is measured level and flat. That old man was a little insistent. Hopefully we'll get some conversations. Let me say hello to Tony Whitman. Thank you as always for your support last month. It was greatly appreciated. Earth is flat, not a spinning ball. Space is fake. The vacuum of space is not real. The vacuum of space is science fiction or pseudoscience. A spinning globe is pseudoscience. We cannot live on a spinning globe and not measure such spin. We cannot walk underneath a globe. Water will always find its level, but it will always run downhill. Water must run downhill. That's a fact of physics. Unless you contain water, it will run downhill. How can you live on a globe that is all about downhill? Have you ever tried to push a ball underwater?
what happens to the water? It immediately runs off the balls. But if you push a bowl under the water, what happens? Well, gosh, it'll contain the water, because water must be contained, or it will flow into the next container. The physics of water prove that Earth cannot be a spinning ball. This belief in gravity is hocus pocus wrapped into your mind when you were 6 years old. Gravity is simply something falls to the floor. That does not mean that you can walk under a ball. Water will always flow downhill unless contained. Water cannot flow uphill unless forced. How can a river Nile run up the side of a globe? Rivers will run downhill. They would run off your marble, your blue marble, your imaginary space ball. They would run off and fall underneath to the South Pole. Water is always going to find level, guys. Water finds level. Science at school has been designed to lie to you about who you are and where you are. You do not come from evolution. You do not come from what they tell you was slime and then monkeys and then man. Oh no, you were created perfect by a creator that designed this place for you to be the sovereign commander, the master of yourself in this creation, designed by a creator, by God, for us, not for the governments to control us. Oh, governments don't control me, says someone who's fallen asleep since 2020. Don't you remember what they did to you in 2020? You are meant to be master of your own ship, and you became nanny and child, controlled by a government that should have no control over you. You are a sovereign being. You are an expression of God. But you give this away to believing that you come from monkeys, that you are barely evolved monkeys and apes, crawling around just grateful that the government is protecting you from meteor showers, all made up poppycock designed to control you. Our God created a world that is a perfect habitat for us to endure and to live in, thrive in. But now we rely on Tesco's and Big Daddy Boris Johnson, or whoever the current monkey is in charge. Tell me, people, has water ever flowed uphill? Can you get water to flow up the side of a ball? No, you cannot. In physics, you will find that water always runs downhill. Hot air rises, cold air drops. There is only one up and one down, and even a tree knows more about that than you. Trees know how to grow up. They understand what up is, but not a globe believer. A globe believer believes that trees in Australia are growing upside down. Trees will not grow upside down on the ball. Try it. Trees will always grow towards the sun, and there is only one up. And water will always find level, which is why I'll tell you that the earth is flat, not a spinning marble in a vacuum of space made up by Disney. NASA is Disney. Disney is NASA. They are one and the same. And they use the same computer trickery to make you believe that Sandra Bullock is in space and Tim Peake was in space. All made up, designed to control your mind. Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space. Rocks do not float, and gas expands to fill the available space. It will not form Neptune. It will not form Saturn. Rocks do not come together to form Mars. Mars is made up. It's a light in the sky. You cannot land on a light in the sky. Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space. Did you know that? Water always finds level. Did you know that? Water finds level. You cannot live on a ball. You cannot live on a spinning ball. Guys, we would fly off. Gravity would have to be super clever. Oh, hold me on a whole lot more when I go and visit the equator, but a whole lot less when I'm all the way up in England. What ridiculousness! There is only one up and down. The water will always find level. There is one sea level that surrounds the island of Great Britain. One sea level. Tidal variations aside, there is one sea level. Earth is not a spinning rock in space. This has all been made up. You can't prove it. You require NASA, the government, to tell you this. Earth is flat. Earth is not moving or spinning. Trust in the government is giving away trust in God. You cannot serve two masters. We serve God or we serve Boris Johnson. Or Rishi Sunak. Or what's the current clown? Keir Starmer.
Stasi,
Yeah,
as he's
yeah.
lovingly known.
He's already unpopular with the people who voted for him. Well, that's the point, but they got people to vote because people are easily fooled into believing that this government will do more for us than the last government, when in fact we find that they're two cheeks of the same arse, two wings of the same bird. And just because the bird flies a little left and a little right, it's still going in the same direction of controlling you, controlling society. Take my flyer. A little on the electromagnetic universe. I believe we are electromagnetic beings
Oh, yeah,
in an
definitely.
electromagnetic system.
We are electromagnetic.
Yes, we
I
are.
worry about the 5G,
Yeah.
and because it's obviously it appears to be the wrong frequencies.
Yeah. Same with music. You know, they changed the frequency of music, 432, from 4 to 440.
Yeah.
Yeah, so many things have been done to alter the frequency of food, music, the bells.
Yeah, the church bells. Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah, they've taken a lot of the church bells away. They were meant to be a good healing frequency, good energy for us. So this world for hundreds of years has been cleverly crafted to weaken and defeat, in a way, God's creation. In my view, that's what the agenda here is to damage whatever God's creation is, and your free will or your free right to have the most beautiful experience or the most free experience that you're meant to have. You know? Not one where someone's standing on your neck and forcing you to do 50 years of work and then you retire and it's all over.
Yeah. So with the Earth, because I understand a lot what you're saying, and I'm not saying it you know, because I'm open-minded.
Yeah.
But with the flat Earth, right? That kind of then that goes into a different realm again, doesn't it? I know you're very brave to actually kind of go for the Earth is flat, you know, because you can then maybe lose a lot more people.
Yeah.
You think, oh, you know,
Yeah.
I can maybe understand the frequencies. I can maybe understand this.
So the flat Earth is like a psyop. It really is. That, you know, this idea that we're on a plate in space and a frisbee with water falling off the edge and so on. It's so ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know? And so that's designed to kind of put people off from exploring these ideas further.
Yeah.
So I came across this 10 years ago, and I looked at some of the original stuff, and then I realized this electromagnetic stuff through studying quantum physics had a lot more answers to how the world might be structured. So when I looked at nature itself, I find that in nature I find spheres like oranges, apples, pumpkins, things like that. That's what I find a lot of in nature. But I never find that the fruit is designed to be on the outside of the skin.
Right. Okay.
The fruit is always encased in a bark, a peel, a shell, always. So why not our Earth be encased in some kind of bark, peel, or shell? So if you then cut the orange open through the middle, you'll find that in the center is the seeds. It's the only solid part. So in electromagnetics, everything is vibration. But the only part of the orange that's no longer water is and solid is the seed at the center. And that's where new life comes from. Now, our continents could be those seeds in the center of an electromagnetic orange, if you like. And that we standing on those seeds, we are bringing new life. It is the place where new life can come in this whole realm, is on this earth, in the Goldilocks zone, in the green zone, if you like. This is where everything happens. The same is true from your heart. Everything emanates electromagnetically from your heart. And your heart is a green chakra. And it is the center, but also an anagram for earth. Heart is an anagram for earth, so it's the same letters, you just rearrange them, and you've got the word earth. So earth is at the center, your heart is at the center of your own creation. So you are the center of a creation, or a universe, if you like, within the orange within the greater universal system. So I think that everything that we see, all the stars in the sky, everything, the nebulas and everything, they're all inside of the orange. And we're tiny, tiny little specks on the inside of the orange, past the water, or just in the area where heavy water, like we call the oceans, and cool water and so on, that's down below our feet. And the lighter water, which is the atmosphere, is the stuff that we can inhabit. So if I took a balloon and half filled it, or filled it with some water, some dirt, and some air, some gas, and let it settle, well, you'd have the heavy stuff at the bottom, some water, and then anywhere where the sand stuck above the water would be the places where the little creatures could exist, right? Other than the sea creatures. So that, I think, answers the whole thing, that whatever the plate that we stand on is not all she wrote. It's only like a sort of an accretion disk. It's a central point where light or vibration has been compressed into matter, into hard. I'll give you the example of this. If you take 100 kilos of firewood and burn it tonight, what are you left with in the morning?
The ashes.
Well, ashes that weigh less than a kilo, and no weight left that fire. Right?
Yeah.
99 kilos, but no weight. 99 kilos is gone, but no weight. Heat and light dissipated or exploded and created what that sort of breakdown of the heat and the light, of the electricity and the magnetism that created that wood. So the wood itself, we perceive it as 100 kilos, but when you get rid of the energy, it's what they call the dark matter. Like 98% of the universe is made up of stuff that they can't measure and so on. Well, this is what our world is made up of, is this sort of electromagnetic compression of light through like a black hole or something like that, where it has now gone through a black hole and being squashed so dense that light becomes tree. That's where I'm at with the deep end of possibility of how this world works.
Right, so not like I know that's ridiculous, like the plate version, the thing. It's actually like the apple, like the earth, and so to say that then, so flat is just, you use flat as a word, perhaps, just to explain it.
As a word to explain, because the oceans, our Earth is 70% water, and our oceans are level. There is one sea level across the Earth. There's what they call the mean sea level, right?
Yeah.
And that sea level is, although it varies by a few inches in certain places, and of course there's tidal swells, that sea level is one sea level. Every mountain is given a height above the mean sea level, in topography. So I think when we were 7 years old and the teacher taught us about what flat Earth was, and that archaic people believed in this idea, and that you would fall off the edge into space.
Yeah.
We were being seeded with the the argument against the globe. We were being seeded with that, and then so that we don't need to ask any further about how could a whole universe work on with a flat construct, certainly with a flat tabletop construct.
Did I hear the other day that a lot of boats went over to was it Antarctica or the Arctic to have, because I know if you go to the Antarctica, they say no, you can't go no further.
Antarctic Treaty.
Yeah, Antarctic Treaty. Mm-hmm. But did I hear a load of boats went there the other day from a lot of different countries? I don't know.
I heard that some people were thinking about doing that, because when you consider the most popular flat Earth conception of how the Earth may look, then places like Cape Town in South Africa and the bottom of South America and New Zealand, those will be closest to the outside of the watch. If you think about the Earth as a wristwatch, and with the ice ring around it, then those countries, those places, happen to have the closest proximity to what would be the outside of the ice ring. And interestingly, when they first signed it, the Antarctic Treaty, there was only 12 countries, and I think South Africa was one of them. And South Africa is not go back to 1950, it wasn't a major player in the world, so why would it? But because of its access to these places, and it's always had a navy, which kind of didn't make sense to me. However, because of what I believe these treaties are is that you have to have a naval presence around, these places. They've got sonar systems that'll pick up your propeller from 100 miles, 200 miles, and they'll intercept your boat. So I have heard of some people looking to do such a thing. There is actually interesting. There's a thing called the Final Experiment, which is also to do with Antarctica. That some guy with a bit of money has stumped up to fly some folks over to Antarctica to see what they believe is a 24-hour sun, which on the globe model would sort of really support what we say, about how the globe works and its relationship to the sun. We have the 24-hour sun apparently up in the northern region. So we should see the same thing in the southern region. We believe that any footage that we have seen, and there's very little of it, seems to have been faked. So this whole idea has been built to go out and make an observation at Christmas time or around, the last few days of the solar year down there in Capricorn. So that's what they're going to do. Now, some people say that will kill the globe if they kill the flat Earth if they find a 24-hour sun. And for me, it's not at all. It's more like that's an observation, and you have to then plug that observation into your hypotheses about how the world might really work. I used to make loads of hypotheses about how the universe worked when I believed in space travel. I all these ideas about how things work out in the deepness of space, based on just theories and ideas and stuff we've never been able to test physically for ourselves. But something that you can test physically for yourself is that the moon, that's coming up to full moon soon, very bright last night, but if you see the moon amongst the clouds at full moon or this time of night, this time of the cycle, you will notice that the clouds around your house are fully illuminated. It's quite bright, it's like a hot spot, and then a mile, 2 miles and 3 miles down away from your house, you will find that the clouds start to darken. And eventually at 10 miles, if you've got enough range, you will notice that it's actually, you can't see any light from the moon itself. It appears to be dark down there. However, if your friend was 10 miles away and they stepped outside at the same moment and had a look for themselves, they'd say, no, it's bright about my house, but dark where you are. How's that possible? So the whole way that the luminaries work in the sky may be far more personal to you, which is why we're at sunset, standing at the beach and the sun rays are coming along the water to you, which is one of the flat earth proof, because it wouldn't bend around the globe. If it was going around the bottom of the globe, you wouldn't actually get it to kind of come up to you. Anyway, the point I want to make is that someone 50 meters away from you won't see that discrete light coming to your feet. They'll see a discrete light coming to their feet only. So what I'm offering as a possibility is that the theory of relativity, where things like always align themselves to you, the observer. You're always on the top of the globe with relativity, essentially. Everything is settled down around you and going around you, in a sense. Well, it may be the case that the lights in the sky arrange themselves with you. As you move across the place, they will always realigning themselves to a point. Obviously, if you travel from England across the sea to South Africa, you're going to lose lights. They're going to slowly descend, just like a plane flying off in the distance at cruising altitude is going to slowly descend into the sky and then join the horizon eventually, and they'll just mesh together and you won't be able to see them anymore. But it's slowly doing that. Well, the same is true with the lights in the sky, is that as you're moving south over the equator, things are just moving down and down. Eventually you can't see them anymore, but others have risen for you that you can now see that weren't visible to you when you were in the northern space. The same example applies with street lights. We could walk down the street and lights will seem really low to us in the distance, but as we approach them, we'll have to look up because they're 10 foot, 15 foot tall. So, that's exactly how the lighting system works, is that unlike the example I've just given you, where the lights are fixed in place, these, I believe, are reorganizing themselves depending on where you, the observer, happen to be. As much as it's possible to try and put that in.
Yeah, consciousness. I know that the double slit test they did and they shot electrons through. But when they wasn't watching, they made lovely round shape. When they watched them, they did what we expected them to do, which was like hit the wall the other side through these slits as they fired them through. But when you weren't looking and nobody was watching, they made nice round shape. They made nice shapes. So, I don't know. Maybe.
Have you seen Emoto's work?
Dr. Emoto.
Yeah, the water.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That water has memory, like it's
Wood
good.
has memory, and you can affect the shape of things by the intention that you put into it. So he was creating beautiful crystals and
Yeah.
less beautiful crystals by putting different intention into the water before freezing it. Others have done this experiment since then, so it's not just a one-hit wonder. But and so we can affect things. People did this rice experiment as well, where they were ugly, nasty to the one jar of rice and nice to the other jar of rice, and the one they were nasty to went off much more quickly.
Right.
So the same is true with your food. The food that you're about
They
to
were
eat.
nicer to went off more quickly.
Sorry.
The nasty tune.
Oh, nasty to, sorry.
Yeah. I mean, there's been some mixed results, but I think there's more than just one thing to it. But I truly feel like if you say that the food you're about to eat is nasty, then you're imbuing in it a vibration, which is probably harmful to you.
Yeah.
You know.
I wouldn't say that. So all right, that's been fascinating. But I suppose just to leave it, and I'll have a look at your stuff and go on it's like that.
Right.
But that's always the thing in it. It's like you kind of understand. I know things are not right. I know that it's too well organised. It's too well. You know what I mean? There's too many things that are not.
It's good that
right,
you can
yeah.
see that. I'm sure
Yeah,
2020 you saw a lot of stuff. That
Yeah,
even-
it seemed the mask came off,
Yeah.
didn't it? The illusion
Yeah.
started to fade.
Yeah.
But I haven't gone down the so-called flat Earth road,
Rabbit hole.
rabbit hole. You listen to it and that because I can't get my head round it yet. It's like
Okay.
so it's
We must admit that we do not know what's outside of the orange. So
Yeah.
the universal orange that I described to you earlier on.
so the orange could be round. That is-
Oh,
but
it most definitely is.
it-
If you look into electromagnetics and toruses,
Yeah.
then it's a round,
yeah.
orange shape. Or apple shape. That's the perfect shape for nature.
For nature, and
but,
like you s- yeah.
but the point is that we're not on the skin of the fruit. We're inside the fruit, just like the fruit is. The fruit is always inside of the skin,
Yeah,
and
yes,
everything starts
yes, I
from
get
that
it
center
now.
point. So we're standing on the seed right now, inside of it, and all the way out there, 500 miles or whatever it is, 1,000 miles, I don't know. There is the pith of the orange.
Right.
And all of this is the orange fruit, if you like.
Yeah.
But the heavier fruit, the heavier water, shall I say, has settled below what we call sea level. And the lighter stuff, and it gets lighter and lighter as you go to altitude, is above that. And that's the habitat that's perfect for us to be in. But it must be a contained system. But yes, then outside of that orange, no idea. No claim, is there more oranges in the orchard? Is the orange much bigger than I'm imagining? Are there things that, is it sitting on something on the floor of an orchard?
That's a good.
We honestly can't know those things, and I feel like we're not necessarily meant to need to know those
Need
things.
to know, right, yeah.
It's the same as your body. It's awesome to know how your body works, but you don't need to know. There's elements about how you feed yourself and so on, but exactly how your pancreas is working today, you don't know. And in most cases, we don't really care because it's taking care of things as it's designed to do. And this earth does the same thing. It takes care of cleaning this place, cleaning the water, cleaning the air, which is why the global warming agenda is all designed for more of control. Because this earth actually, I'm not suggesting we should spoil it.
Yeah.
However,
Yes.
it has powers of regeneration, just like your body does. Your body will repair itself after an injury. Well, the same is true with the earth. And I have yet to see evidence that either the sea levels have risen, like they told me in the 70s that things were going to, sea levels were going to rise,
they
and
would
cities were
drown.
going to drown,
Yeah,
and all that sort of
burn.
stuff. It's the same sea level today as it was then.
Yeah.
I'm not saying the sea level has never risen or won't ever rise or fall. We've seen examples of towns underneath the sea level already, so we know that there's places in England and other places where there are towns under the water. So there was a rise in the sea level at some point in the last 500 years, it seems to me. But the point is that this place can clean itself. That's what the tides are for. That's what the winds are for. They're coming in with clean winds and clean tides,
No, I agree with
clean
that.
ocean.
Well, there's a thing, there's an article in
Well,
this.
we've left you a mag. We hand out the Light magazine, so we've left you a mag up there, which is the Light magazine. And in there, there's a bit on using where the atoms from experiments from when they were doing the nuclear bombing years ago. Well, they still are, but they're doing all this testing and all the radiation. Is that the winds and the you'll see it. The Earth has cleaned it naturally through its filters.
Actually, I was going to say that thing about the CO2 where
the CO2, a fifth of it gets taken back in. So it's always again
Cycling and stuff.
cycling itself. Yeah.
Nice,
So,
brilliant.
so
But the
it
trees are
never
for.
will build up to what they're told.
Yeah, in fact, the trees will thrive if you give them a little bit more CO2. They
Yeah,
grow
yeah,
better
we're
and faster.
apparently we're low on carbon.
So
aren't we?
so we could actually destroy nature by trying to
Yeah.
remove it, but we're fighting and losing cause because apparently like the oceans give off a huge amount.
We
much
won't
more
make
than we
any
do.
difference.
No,
Yeah.
it's too
We won't make
small.
any
It's too small.
But this is good. This is good then, like that you've kind of cleared it up for me, like kind of that rather than maybe maybe the name and just that. Listen, I'm not like because
Yeah,
it's fascinating what you say, and it's really really clever. I'm amazed, taken back by it. But the word when we're saying like flat Earth, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's kind of. Do you think that's kind of detrimental in
Yeah,
one
it
way
is.
for
Yeah,
what, for
I
what you're doing?
totally get that. It's almost like a poison chalice.
Yeah, you're kind of trying to.
But it really does get people's attention. And what I like is that people will go home, even if they're upset with the message, and they will talk to people about flat Earth. We tried using globe lie for a while. In 2019, we went on a tour around Europe using the term globe lie. But even that, people don't connect to it. Whereas flat Earth hits them in the
Global
bang.
eye or lie?
lie,
Lie.
globe lie, globe lie. Yeah, no, I mean, and yeah, it looked a little bit. But speaking of that,
Yeah, maybe it is.
You do the light paper.
Yeah,
It started by Darren Nesbitt, right?
it's Stroud.
So Darren and I met first in 2017, 2018 because he's a flat earther like me.
Oh, well, okay.
I thought I'd just share that as a.
No.
He doesn't talk about it on the light paper.
Yeah.
It's not something he's. I think I saw him just a few weeks ago actually, and he was saying, for him, a flat Earth is like, it's not that important, And I think for me, I disagree because I feel like it's the gateway to realizing that everything that we've ever been given in this construct has been given with a design to mislead.
Why would, on that point, because I don't understand, I get my head around a lot of quantum physics and all these things, but I don't understand what would be the benefits of lying about the shape of the Earth in that respect.
That's a good question.
People
I
that
get
want to
asked
take
that.
control.
I get asked that. I mean, I know that you will know that some people will ask you the question, what would they benefit from lying about the 2020 scamdemic?
Yeah, I can get that.
Well,
I
yeah,
understand that.
yeah.
I don't understand
Yeah,
how.
but there are people who can't understand that, but you can see that there's a motive behind that, whether it's financial or to get to the needle point where they were putting things into people that might have ramifications down the line. We've already seen some people take the hit from that. But there's other ramifications that they're building into this. This is not just a one-time wonder. It's part of a longer schedule of something that when we look back in 10, 20 years' time, we will see how important it was as a stepping stone for this system of control. So my belief is that we are the spark of God. And that light that you come with, that light of God, that spark of Jesus or Christ or whatever that you come with, they don't want you to have that. The system that controls us. And so they use mechanisms such as the education system, such as toxins in our food supply, the pineal gland, which I'm sure you've researched, fluoride and all of that. They're doing things systematically to weaken, enfeeble, and even ridicule and demean what I believe is God's creation. What is the point behind all of that? Is it because they want to distress us such that we endure, such that we have to be tested a little bit like, Frodo in Lord of the Rings, the guy who has to do this incredible mission to get the ring to achieve what his life mission was, So is it that they're doing it as a favor to us, the old Freemasons and the secret societies and all of them? They're doing it as a favor? Or are they working for some dark lord that some would talk as, in religion, Satan, or others would say there's some kind of archonic, historic entity here that has sought to usurp God's intention and is nefarious and should be stopped or will eventually be stopped by the Most High. And this is where you get into the possibility that there have been epoch-ending events
at least perhaps 5 of them where there's been great civilizations washed away instantaneously, and then over time replaced with a smaller, lesser, civilization, which is why we today still can walk around buildings that are of such grandeur that we, can't believe how they actually were able to construct this with a horse and cart technology.
Yeah,
But don't you find it interesting that you having said that actually, well,
No, it's not Karen.
it happens again and happens again. Maybe this is a
Ending cycle.
never-ending cycle.
I think that our creator, or what we come from, the essence we come from, is eternal, and it never ends. And we are a part of that, and we have this life experience. We take what we grow from it, or we take that experience, it goes into the cloud, it's retained, and then we maybe come back and keep, and if at the top of the table we are God, then it is God here in 8 billion or 6 billion incarnations, and then the expression of all the flora and fauna and everything else that's here is the expression of that same creator, and it's a never-ending cycle. But I do feel like if we've been tricked on such a grand scale, there's a purpose to it, and although I cannot be absolutely sure what that purpose is, I know that they've done it for a reason, and so to unpick that or overturn that is an essential element, I believe, of our experience here.
Yeah, that's fair.
If you want to bury your head in the sand and say, look, this doesn't matter and so on,
Find truth.
I would say then it's because you're not willing to put what has to be put on the line in order to go through that. And it's okay, because there is no sin, or in the way that there is no, my belief is that you're not about to be punished when you leave this experience. It's all love.
You
when
might
you
be put
leave
back
here.
to the start.
Well, there's a lot of people who, and I don't necessarily disagree with, there's a lot of people who say that part of the trick is that if you don't achieve the milestones that you set for yourself on entry, then you will come back in. And what the archons are doing is to trick you such that you will keep tripping over and coming back in for not maybe an eternity, or certainly a long, long, long time, so that they can harvest from your energy or do whatever. So,
Yes.
so there is a little motivation, I suppose, to seek to walk your most righteous walk and to be the brightest version of yourself. Not to be like so hard on yourself that you're punishing yourself. You might as well be your own jailer then. But that we are designed to, evolve. But spiritually evolve, not physically. We don't get new fingers and all that sort of stuff unless you want to take on the AI that Elon Musk, the deep state agent, is pushing on people. You don't want that. You want
Deep state agent.
Yeah, and but you want to be you want to achieve the highest version of yourself. And I'm not the one to say what that highest version is. I'm not here to judge you, and I don't even think that God or your higher self judges you. It's just like, okay, that's what you achieved. Well, we'll go back and we'll try again, or maybe that's not even, maybe not even part of the deal. I will be. I know I'm holding you guys up.
No.
I
I feel
for
like I'm
me,
holding you up.
I was an atheist in 2015, and then I took DMT, which is ayahuasca.
Yeah. Oh yeah, in the jungle they do it, and they like.
Yeah, in this case it was synthesized DMT, dimethyltryptamine, and I didn't know anything about it. This friend said, look, you really need to try this, and I tried it, and 7 minutes later, when I came back from the experience, I'd had like a near-death moment, and the first words out of my mouth were, "It's true, there is a God." I'd seen my higher self, which wasn't necessarily God. It was my higher self, an eternal being that was impervious to anything here on earth, just lying beneath me, a blue being with a big grin on his face. I wasn't tripping. I wasn't like on some kind of mushroom, sort of seeing weird shit. My mind was working sharper than a supercomputer. It was unbelievable, and I was given all this information. And I saw, this was a big part of my direction to looking into flat Earth and electromagnetics, is that I saw that everything around me in the space, I was lying down on a chaise lounge in a plush Johannesburg backyard with a swimming pool and palm trees and stuff like that, and all of it was just light. The trees, I could see them just pulsing. The green parts were just pulsing green light. The brown parts were just pulsing brown light. The walls, I could not render them back as brick. They were only light. for the 6 or 7 minutes of this time, I could only see them, much as I tried to see them as the physical things that I'm used to seeing. It was as though the veil had been ripped off the front of my TV, and I was able to see the sparking zeros and ones, the light that informs my TV what to show me on the screen.
Right. Yeah.
And our experience is so much greater because not only that, when I feel the tree, I can feel that 100 kilograms of wood. But then it's not wood. It's not 100 kilograms. It's just, heat and light and a kilo of ash. That's all it really is.
Yeah.
And that's, I won't go into the long-winded about what that might be, but really all it is light. It's all frequency, it's vibration, it's sound. That's what I got from this. And that it's all love. All love. That's what I found on the other side, was that I was immersed in a love that surpassed my mother's love. It was the most wonderful thing. My mother actually visited me. She'd passed 4 years earlier, and I refused the idea that there was a God and that there was anything hereafter 4 years before in 2011. But here I am, 2015, and my mother's talking to me and calming me down because it was such a initially frightening experience. But it was the changing point that got me to see that, well, we are part of something much more magnificent than I'd come to believe. As an evolutionist, Darwinist, Big Bangist, I was into all of that. And it just came out of nothing. Everything came out of nothing. Lucky strike, bosh, give it 15 billion years or whatever, and here we are. No, it wasn't that. And the timeline, I don't know how long the timeline is, but maybe it doesn't matter that much. What matters is here and now. All we have is the present. We are part of something much more magnificent than this construct that we're given, this Disneyland that we're given to play in. But we are meant to be the masters of it and not the servants. And most of us, although we may be comfortable financially, we are all of us servants in a system. Don't pay your taxes, there'll be people knocking on the door. Don't pay your TV license, there'll be people knocking on the door. Don't pay this, don't fall in line, don't turn up, don't wear the nappy on your face. Don't take the needle in your arm. There's going to be people pushing you.
Yeah.
And so it's all designed to kind of weaken us. However, none of it's designed. What I'm saying is none of it's designed to be fearful. More like empowering, because knowledge is power.
Yeah.
And whilst we don't have knowledge, we are not that powerful. But whilst we have that knowledge, then we can construct a life around us and those that we care for in a way that is empowering. To be the brightest light in the room, so that others can follow your example. I think that's the kind of mission that apparently Jesus was on, was to say that kind of a thing. And I think that's really what each of us has the potential. As he said, you can do greater things than I. I believe that we're meant to do greater things than I. But not take idols. We do not need to worship anyone.
Have you seen the film Zeitgeist?
I did.
Yeah.
That was an powerful film for me, I actually watched it like before my awakening, as I would call it. I watched it before then. And I thought that was like, wow, what an amazing model. I thought that was great. But actually, to be honest with you, now I've been on this journey. I feel like the only way you get that is by hyper-controlling people. Hyper-controlling the natural order. And in the same way as we do not want our chickens and our cows to be hyper-controlled, we would rather that they were free range. We are hyper-controlling our children such that every movement of their day is monitored. Eventually every drive that you will take, having read the light paper, I know you'll be aware of 15-minute cities and all of that kind of agenda, then that is what Zeitgeist, unfortunately, requires in order to get the natural animal or the natural human being, which is a wild character, should be a free character, is to constrain them such that they become like the Stepford wives. Eventually, like everyone wears the same, talks the same, thinks the same, does its 15 minutes of moving around and then takes the pills and all of this sort of stuff. I think that I loved that idea. But as I've gone on this journey of we're meant to be sovereign, then I prefer the idea of me working in a community with you and others, but not for me to be your master and me to say, hey, how you keep...
I don't remember the film saying that.
Yeah, I just feel like in order to create... Because in my mind, it's been 15 years.
Arguments.
In my mind, I have this idea of perfection when I think about Zeitgeist. And nature doesn't do perfection. Nature does natural order, Trees like to grow in natural order, blah, blah, blah. So it's great that we've had this exchange. I have maybe to watch it again, but I did feel like...
that, because Because I don't.
Yeah, just think about that question, is that how do we take the society and create these sort of feels to me like, from the distance of having watched it a long time ago, feels like it was like an obedience training system.
No, God, not. I'm going to have to watch it again because I don't.
Brilliant, mate.
Nice to talk to you. My name's Dave.
Dave, or Eddie, as I said, like Dave. Yeah, really
Nice
nice.
to
Dave.
talk to you. Nice
Yeah,
to talk to you
Sam,
both.
Nice to meet you. Yeah,
Likewise.
good luck.
There is an app on there, a little QR code. A friend of mine has an app. It's £3 and it puts you into the best content that is available. He pulls together the best content that is available,
that's
evidences and things for you to think about. And my YouTube channel is on there as well.
All right, now
Okay, brilliant.
Yeah.
cheers, Dave.
All right.
We were streaming live, by the way. So. Lovely to meet you. Bye-bye. I hope you enjoyed the conversation. I did. Thanks for the thumbs up. That kept me quiet for a while, didn't it? Hey, morning. Nice to see you, brother. Hey, Trinities. Thanks for the support. Yeah, so that was a nice conversation. Earth is flat. Earth is flat, my friends, not a spinning globe. We can't walk underneath a ball. The water would run off the ball. Water must be contained. We live in a large container. There's a firmament over our heads, just like the Bible says. If you've ever read the Bible, you'll know that the earth is set upon pillars and not moving. This idea that we're spinning is contradicting the Bible. But it's also contradicting natural physics to say that water is going to cling to the side of a ball and form perfectly spherical oceans because of a teardrop. Oh, my friends, that teardrop is the teardrop of a boy who believed he could go to space like Luke Skywalker. Because of science fiction, people want to go to space and they want to believe that the vacuum of space is a real place. But thermodynamics demands that we must contain ourselves from a vacuum. You must contain any gas if you want to have pressure. Rocks don't float. The idea that Mars is a rock is made up. Mars is a light in the sky that we can all see, but it's a light, not a rock that you can land on. The moon is a light. You can't land on the moon. You know they faked the moon landings. The moon landings were made by Stanley Kubrick, an Englishman. Did you know that?
Yes.
Well done. Well done. The lunar lander looks like it was made by high school students with tin foil. They never tested the spacesuit in a vacuum chamber. Well, they tested it once, but the man nearly died, so they never tested it again. Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space. You can't walk on the underside of a ball. The waters of our oceans must be contained like a great lake. And the continents, they stick up above the water level, the sea level. There's only one sea level that every mountain is given a height above. Which sea level is it, by the way? The sea level on a ball or the sea level on a flat earth? A contained earth with a firmament, a dome. It's almost as though we live inside the orange, not on the outside of the orange. Have you ever seen in nature where the fruit is on the outside of the skin, the peel, the bark, the shell? Have you ever seen that once? No, you have not. No, you have not. So why do you believe that you live on an earth that has no containment? Is it because you believe you are too small and too evolved from a monkey? These things are nonsense and poppycock. You cannot evolve from a monkey. You were created by our Creator, perfect in every way. But your scientists would have you believe that you are merely evolved apes and that you are spinning on the underside of a ball. All of this contradicts common sense. Common sense was robbed from you when you were 6 years old and your teacher told you that the earth is spinning faster than the speed of sound, but you can't feel it. You can't measure it. You can't measure it, but you believe it because you were taught it when you were too young to think for yourself. Why don't you show me the curvature of the earth, sir? If it upsets you so much. The good sheep want you to be quiet and stay still Do not call out the government who locked you up in 2020. Do not call out the government that took you to more wars than you can shake a stick at. Earth is flat. You can't prove you live on a spinning ball. You have to believe it based on theology. I mean theory. Or theology, it's all the same thing. Beliefs in gravity, relativity, Big Bang, all of these things are designed to keep you in the child mind. The child state, because you cannot evolve to be the sovereign being that you truly are. So when you were 7 years old, you had your common sense ripped from you by your teacher who made you believe that you are a monkey on a spinning ball. All of this complete science fiction, pseudoscience. Water always finds level. Water will not run downhill. Water will always run downhill.
I need some water. There's Darren's paper. Actually, I sent him a message to say, no, I didn't. No, I didn't. Earth is flat, not a spinning globe in space, Winchester. We've been lied to. The Earth doesn't move. It's the sun and the moon that are moving above your head. Guess what? At the disco, it's not the floor that moves, it's the lights above you that move. Surprise, surprise, water is always going to find level. It will run downhill and then pool level. Water cannot run uphill unless forced. So if you just joined the stream, thanks for coming. Nice to see you there, Martin, brother, and hopefully we'll see you sometime. But we're heading down to St. Ives this week. What's today? Sunday. This week coming. Earth is flat, but are you South African?
Me?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, you look South African.
Take that as a compliment.
You take that as a compliment. Good. So here we are in Winchester. Earth is flat, friends, not a spinning ball. The sun and the moon, they travel over our heads. They are not large balls of gas burning for eternity in space. The vacuum of space is made up. It's all science fiction, designed when you were a child to make you believe you live on a rock spinning in space. Water will always seek and find level. It will run downhill and then find itself level. And that level body of water will be parallel to the next level body of water, because all water conforms to the same basic physical rules on this flat earth. It must be contained, and when contained, it will form level. No matter how small the bowl or large the ocean, it's still sea level. Everything is given a height above sea level because the earth is flat. The earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space. You cannot fly around in space and not fall off a spinning ball. That's nonsense and poppycock. You've been brainwashed. That's why you wore a mask in 2020. That's why you lined up like good school children in 2020 to get your food rations. That's why you're lining up for needles in the arm, for an invisible thing that you've never seen. Earth is flat, not a spinning rock. Earth is flat, not a rock in space. Space is fake. We never went to the moon. And the Navy have got a gun that can shoot 100 miles called the rail gun. They can shoot a laser at a ship over the sea for 100 miles, disproving the idea that you live on a globe. Water is level. The sea is level. That's why we say sea level. And you're not spinning. If you believe you're spinning, why don't you point to me the direction you are spinning?
at 1,000 miles an hour, I should add. Faster than the speed of sound. Hello, sir. Oh, I thought you were coming to chat. But no, he needed a rest. Chat, how's the chat doing? I've got a handful here. I can't reach my phone. Yeah, what's going on in the world? Earth is flat, not a spinning rock. You want to fly? Some information? Sure. I've got a better flyer for you, actually. Take this one. This one here. I think your friends and you can have a look at this and consider the questions I've posed. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space. Some information for you. We are the center of creation. You should have no master. You should have no governor telling you when you can go to the shops, when you can leave your home, when you can work without taking needles in your arm, when you can stifle your breath. Did they stifle you in 2020? Did they stifle you in 2020, Winchester? Did they lock you down in your homes, Winchester? Did they? Because it shows that you are not your own master. The reason you are not your own master is because you believe that you live on a spinning rock and evolved from apes, rather than you are the creation of God, or the Most High, or Allah, whatever your flavor. You are the center of creation, and you should have no master telling you to stay home, put nappy on your face, put poison on your hands, stick poison in your arm. Earth is not a spinning rock. NASA never landed on the moon. That's all made up. All done by Stanley Kubrick. The International Space Station is the international fake station. All done in a swimming pool and with circus tricks. NASA is Disney for adults. NASA is Disney for adults. The Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space. You would fall off a stone that was spinning. Water would not be able to coalesce in lakes underneath a globe. Yeah, a little bit more room here for the Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space. The Earth is flat. Earth is stationary, unmoving. We can't prove it otherwise. And water will always find level when at rest. Water will always find level when at rest. It will always run downhill unless constrained. You cannot have water on a ball. Water on a ball defies natural physics. Men walking on the side of a ball, a globe, defies natural physics. Earth is 70% water, and water is 100% level when at rest. Take a photo. Yes, my man, please take a photo. Share it on your social network, much as you like. I have international airline pilot friends who confirm that they do not fly around a curve and that the Earth for them is flat and unmoving. Thank you. Flyer, take with you. The smartness of that. Oh, my dear me. So smart. In there. Phenomenal knowledge. I won't hit the old people too hard. Someone is scraping my artwork. No. Can't be. Earth is flat, Winchester. You do not live on the side of a spinning rock. Rocks don't float. Gas giants do not coalesce under their own weight. Gas dissipates to fill the available space, and if we lived in space, we would have no gas on this so-called planet. The Earth must be contained. The Bible talks about a firmament. I don't mind what language you use, but thermodynamics demands containment. If you want to have a gas pressure such as our atmosphere, it needs to be contained. You cannot spin it at 1,000 miles an hour and expect the air to be still for you in the morning. You cannot spin it at 1,000 miles an hour and have a wind current blowing against that spin. You were indoctrinated at a very young age to believe that you lived on the side of a spinning rock and that you come from monkeys and that dinosaurs went away with the meteorite. These things cannot be proven. But what can be proven is that water will run downhill and pool level, which is why we say sea level or water level, because there is one sea level on a flat earth, 70% water, 100% flat. 100% flat. There's no curvature to be measured over water. Curvature. Look up the formula. Look up the formula for curvature. See if you can prove it to yourself. Wake up from the sleep that your government has you in. How many are lined up like good sheep to put a nappy on their face in 2020? None of you are masters of your own sovereignty. Masters of your own ship. Some information for you. It's all love, sister. All love.
Because they run a teacher training program across Surrey.
Earth is flat, not a spinning globe. Earth is measured level. Earth is measured level. We cannot measure curvature over water. And Earth is 70% water. So how do you live on a ball of 70% water? Water will always conform to the shape that it's in, but the surface will be level, no matter how large the containment. Earth is flat, sir, not a spinning globe. Did you know that?
No, thanks.
Have a nice day. Thank you. Earth is flat. Hello, little girl. Have a nice day. Nice to see you. Bye. 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 I see you. It's nice to interact with the little people because, you know, a lot of people don't interact with them very much anymore. Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space. Healthy people can't make other people sick. Did you believe that in 2021? Did you believe that lie? And water is always going to find level when at rest. That's a fact. That's a fact. Water will always find level. Earth is 70% water, therefore Earth is 70% level, with a few hills coming out of the water. It is not moving, it is not spinning at faster than the speed of sound, like they tell you. The sun is traveling over your head and is small and local. Not a singular object, I'm pretty sure of that. Earth is flat, ma'am. Would you like some information on the electromagnetic universe? Looks like she's sort of barely hanging in there, to be honest. Not wanting to be unkind. Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space. You can't measure curvature over water. In fact, water is measured level. Celestial navigation uses level as its baseline. How is this possible on a ball? Earth is not a spinning rock in space, friends. It is a flat, unmoving plane. Earth is flat. Earth is flat, and there's nothing you can do about that but bury your head in the sand and do none of your own research. Trust the BBC. Trust the National Geographic deceivers. Trust Elon Musk, the deep state agent. Trust Donald Trump. He'll save you. Hey, he'll build a big wall and protect you from all the ugly little germs and viruses that you can't see. Yeah, he'll cage you in your home eventually. Because you are no longer your own master, because you do not know that you are the expression of God. You are the expression of God, and there should be none above you. Nothing here on earth should be superior to God's creation, which is you. Take a quick moment to say hello to the chat. I'm not getting many stoppers today. I think I said that the last time I was standing here. Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space. We can prove it. You can't prove you live on a globe. You have to believe in this. If this, then that, then this theory of gravity. Gravity is merely an expression of buoyancy, density, and displacement. Don't we understand what displacement is? You displace very little air, but you displace a great deal or great weight of water in a swimming pool. You weigh less in a swimming pool, therefore. Yes? Water runs downhill, yes? Water, when at rest, contains in a level pool or a lake, yes? Suez Canal, 120 miles of level water, because water always settles level. This is common sense, dear friends. Common sense. This idea that you live on a spinning marble is designed to weaken you and make you into obedient sheep, followers of a flock, a cult, a death cult that would rather weaken you and shorten your lifespan than enhance you and develop you. Earth is not a spinning ball in space, and the water in your jar is going to be level no matter how you position it. Yes, Earth is measured flat. Earth is measured flat with celestial navigation. Earth is measured flat by observation and laser pointing. We can prove that the Earth is flat, not a globe. The globe is made up to keep you a good slave. Are you happy with servitude? Or do you realize that you are God's expression? Are you happy with Boris Johnson telling you when you can go to the shops? Or are you your own master? We have given away mastery to this idea that we evolved from apes and that we live on the side of a spinning rock where NASA, which is Disney, can take our imaginations into the vacuum. Now, Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space. Rocks don't float, friends. Rocks will fall. You lift it up, it falls down. You can call that gravity if you want to, but that doesn't give you the right to then say that water is going to sit on the underside of a ball in Australia and form a lake. That's absolutely ridiculous. I just want to say thanks to all those who have supported my work thus far. You guys are amazing, and I am so grateful to you. I really am. As I said at the beginning of the stream, a bit comes in here, a bit comes in there, and it makes a huge difference, and we somehow manage to survive. Looks like someone has desecrated my artwork here. Or it just happenstance a dog urinated right there. Hello, man. If you join the stream later, you won't notice this. My little flat earth depiction inside the O. I was thinking about getting one of my old ones, the yellow and black one, that I had one of the yellow and black ones that I lost, getting that redone for when I'm down in Cornwall the next month or so. And as I said earlier, I'm hoping to work Jason of the Disbury family. We have had a conversation, and I'm hoping to get him to come and do some street with me. Earth is flat. Earth is flat, Winchester. NASA is a hoax designed to trick your mind, to make you small, to keep you believing in government. What about Sir Keir Starmer? Is he as good as Boris Johnson was? Or Tony Blair? Or Tony B. Liar? Do you trust the government's weapons of mass destruction? 9/11, 7/7, COVID, convid, or plandemic as they sometimes called it. The scamdemic on the people. Did you believe that? Did you go along with that too? Did you trust the science? Because trusting the science has got us into a lot of problems the last few years. Trusting the lions will lead us to a very dark place. But while we trust scientists who tell us that we can walk on the underside of a ball because a man called Einstein and before him Newton came up with opposing theories or uncomplimentary theories about how it could work. Earth is not a spinning rock. We are electromagnetic beings at the center of the creation. Yeah. Oh, that man's definitely, you got planet on your back. It's flat, mate. Planet means small plane. Planet. The lights in the sky are not planets, they are lights in the sky. There are lights in the sky, yes, we call them stars and wandering stars, but they're not rocks. They're not gas giants reflecting sunlight for billions of miles. That's ridiculous. There are lights in the sky. Earth is flat, ma'am. We've been lied to since birth about who we are and where we are. Earth is not a spinning rock in space. NASA never landed on the moon. Neil Armstrong pretty much admitted that he was a man hiding a secret, the greatest secret. And Buzz Aldrin said to a 8-year-old girl, we never went. We never went. They never went to the moon, that's why we've never been back. It's all made up in a studio. Space may be the final frontier, but it's made in a Hollywood basement. That's the truth, my friends. Space is made in a basement in Hollywood, using CGI, using harnesses, using swimming pools, using the Vomit Comet zero-G plane to fake being in the International Space Station. It's all designed to trick your mind and keep you small, maintain your slavery. We are slaves in this system. The chains look like the IRS. They look like the taxman. They look like 20 years of schooling and 40 years of career and 10 years and 5 years on the golf course. That's what slavery is. They get you to buy your own home, yes, but you're still a slave, and you believe that you are insignificant evolved apes on a spinning rock in space. None of this can be proven. Water will always run downhill and find level. Water will find level. We cannot live on the side of a spinning ball in the vacuum of space. None of this can be proven. Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space, Winchester. Remember where you heard it first. 1200s, they knew. In the 1200s, sir, they absolutely knew. The astrolabe, which is thousands of years older than that, predicted everything based on a flat Earth. Celestial navigation is based on a flat Earth. Construction is based on water level. Water level. You know you're walking downhill now, and the water would run with you. But eventually it would pool at the bottom, and that pool would be level and parallel to every other body of water. This you can prove for yourself. You don't have to live with the theory that eventually the water is curving when the ship goes away. Well, why don't you measure that if you're into science? Because science demands not only observation, it demands measurement. And if you can't measure it, you have to hypothesize or theorize or theologicize and become a part of a religion called the Gravitonians. And eventually you'll join the Elons when they go to Mars in your imagination. Because Elon is deep state. And SpaceX is just the government repackaged as a private organization. Water is always going to run downhill, and water will find level when it rests. Matter of fact, you cannot point the direction we are spinning, let alone prove that we are spinning. Yes, the sun moves over our head, but that's what's happening. The sun is moving over our head. The stars, they move over our head. That doesn't mean that the floor is moving. The lights on the disco roof are moving, but the disco floor is not moving. The football is round. The football is round. The football is round, but the pitch is flat. It upsets people to have their religion challenged, their beliefs challenged. But I'm only here with love to express that you are the center of creation. You are the center of creation, created by the Most High, a loving creator. However, you've given up your birthright. We've given up our birthright because we are God expressing itself within God. We are all that is, expressing itself within all that is. We are the center of the universe, not some insignificant speck made of stardust, happenstance, billions of years, dinosaurs and all of that. No, we were created on purpose by a designer. Call it God if you like. But you are the center of this creation. Earth is the center of the universe, and you are the center of the center. You are the center of Earth. Earth is love, and love is Earth, or heart. Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space. You've been lied to. Earth is flat. Seems to hold up quite well, the chalk, actually. I mean, this obviously hasn't been walked over. These people are going to come tomorrow, and I think the lady asked me earlier on if I was going to clean it. I think a lot of people will try and take care of that for me. Let's just see my artwork.
They got you the clock, right? I'll just take
Do you want some information on that?
No, thank
Earth
you.
is flat, water's level. You don't evolve from monkeys. Water's always going to seek and find level. Earth is 70% water. How can we live on a ball? If you say gravity, you're repeating a belief system, a religious belief that gravity, because something fell to the floor, means that magic can happen in Australia. That people can walk upside down, planes can fly upside down, ships can go underneath a ball. All of this made up poppycock. Nice day. Hello, ma'am. Can I give you a flyer to take home with you? Rushing off. Don't be feared of the truth. Don't be scared of the truth. The truth won't hurt. The truth will free you. Earth is not a spinning rock in space. The moon landings were fake to make you believe we live on a marble. This is all impossible. Earth is a flat plane contained within a dome. Perhaps we are living in the Truman Show. Perhaps this is the Truman Show after all, and you're just inside some enclosed habitat, unmoving, with level water. But you've been tricked, and you've given away your sovereignty. You've given away your divinity. Some of you go to church, but you have no idea how important you are. You're caught up in a religious belief called NASA. NASA is Disney for adults. NASA keeps the dream alive that was planted as a seed in your mind when you were 5 years old, that you could travel to the moon one day, that you could travel to Mars someday with the great deceiver, Elon. But you can't, my friends, because Mars is a light on the roof, and we cannot get to the roof of this place. All NASA space launches dip into the sea and they disappear in the Bermuda Triangle, never to be seen again. Everything else is done on the TV. Everything done is done in flotation tanks. Everything else is done with high wires like a circus trick to trick your mind into believing that you live on a spinning rock. Rocks don't float, and you can't walk underneath a rock. You can barely balance on the top of a ball. Have you ever tried to balance on the side of a ball? Oh, because the ball didn't have a big enough gravity? What poppycock! You have density in this environment, yes, and that's why you weigh 50, 60, 80 kilograms. Because you have density. But get in a swimming pool. How much do you weigh now? How much do you weigh now? Well, that depends on how much I float and how much water I displace, right? It's common sense, people. Your swimming pool is level, your bath is level, the Suez Canal is level, the Great Lakes in Canada are level. But you'd like to believe you live on a spinning marble. We have parts of the land that is so level, they're more level than a pancake, but you want to believe this is all made up on a ball. How do you get flat spots on a ball, people? You don't. Just because you believe the ball is so big, it has to be traveling at 1,000 miles an hour to spin once a day. Did you know that 1,000 miles an hour is physically faster than the speed of sound? So how is my voice reaching you if I'm moving away at 1,000 miles an hour? How is an aircraft taking off on a spinning ball moving at 1,000 miles an hour? How are we seeing line of sight communications for hundreds of miles on a globe. Apparently, we have antenna hundreds of miles high in order to account for that amount of curvature. Or the Earth is flat. Or the Earth is contained. And that global warming is another deception, because there is no global warming on a flat Earth. Global warming is another way of stealing your life, stealing your energy, giving more justification to those who will control you to do the very thing that you don't want to be done to you, is to control you, to keep you a serf, a slave, keep you small, keep you insignificant, make you pay eons of taxes. Did you know that everybody is going to work at least 10 years of their life just to pay the taxes? Why don't you call it slavery? Call it what it is. Most of us are working 15 and even 20 years simply to pay taxes and mortgages. You give up your entire youthful existence so that you can have a 5-year retirement at the end of that process? You're having your life stolen from you, and you are God's emissary. You have given away your crown. You are the king, you are the queen, but you have given away the crown. We have given away the crown. We collectively lined up like sheep in 2020 and asked where we could buy the next box of face nappies. We went to war against our European brothers, believing the propaganda from this side or that. We went to war with each other, and we are God's creation. So when you go to war, you are killing yourself. When you go to war with your neighbor, you are killing yourself. You are demeaning the Creator, the Most High. When you believe that you evolved from a monkey, you're demeaning our Creator. You are demeaning yourself. Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space. And this is the gateway truth to realizing that all governments, Russian, British, American, Chinese, Indian, Australian, South African, all governments are signed up to the same hidden treaty that controls you. They're working together, and the wars they're bringing are controlled to bring you under their control, to pay more taxes, to give up more of your safety, to ensure that you stay at home.
See those wind turbines?
Yes. No, that's curvature based on perspective, right?
No.
So if
I was at sea level,
Yeah.
taking that photo through a high-powered telescope. I'm a science teacher,
Yeah.
so I teach at schools.
Right.
That is,
What's your name?
they're 30 miles away from me.
Okay.
At 30 miles, you'd expect them to be about 60% covered by the
So
sea.
how high is that?
They are 150 meters high,
Okay.
about 30 miles away.
Okay.
The curvature of the Earth means that they are
So
on the horizon.
where's the ship going away, the curvature?
It does.
No, where, at what distance? from
About
shore?
25 miles. So you see a distance about 25 miles. You'll see that the ship.
Not
pass over the
according
horizon.
to Wikipedia and Google. You'll
Wikipedia.
find that they'll say it's 3 to 5 miles.
No.
And it's
It's further than
well-
that. 3 to 5 miles. If you look at you can see across the horizon for more than. If you've been on a complete flat surface,
Yeah.
you can see for more than
Absolutely.
so 25 miles. Yeah, absolutely. That's where it starts to
Okay.
over a course of about 1
All
or 2
right.
degrees.
Well,
of that
let's say I
distance.
looked up on the internet. What
Yeah.
is the distance to the horizon?
Yeah.
I find that they claim it to be an apparent horizon.
Well, yes, that's the
Do
because
you know why they say that?
well, it's an apparent horizon because it's not a flat line, is it? It kind of curves off into the distance.
No, they say that because on one day it can be 2 miles or 1 mile if it's like quite
Well,
foggy.
yeah, it depends on the weather, doesn't it?
And on a clear day, particularly in the winter when the
Yeah.
air is drier and there's not a lot of chop on the water, you can see much further.
Yes, I agree with
And the
that.
Americans have got a weapon called the railgun. Have you
Yeah,
talked
yeah,
to
I've heard of
students
it. Yeah, I
about
know about railguns. Yeah, absolutely.
So it uses a magnetic sabot to fire at Mark 15,
Yeah.
a dot, that can travel, using a laser pointer,
Yeah.
can travel 100 miles.
Yeah.
And it's going in a straight line. It's not bending over any curve.
Well,
It's not bending over. The gunner is looking at the target ship.
not for about 150 miles. How far did you say?
How do you know?
Well, how far?
If
How
you
far?
can
No, no,
buy
how far did you
100
say?
miles.
100 miles.
Yeah.
Because
This
after
is-
100 miles, if you try and look at 100 miles in the distance, objects you can't be seeing
Well, the world record photograph in Guinness Book of Records is 265 miles.
from ground level.
Yeah.
And what was it taking a photograph of?
Of mountains.
Of mountains. So was the whole mountain from the base to the top of it
Yes.
visible?
Yes.
I don't believe so.
Okay. So, but the point is, well, the thing is that they tell us, and this is what people
but-
will tell me. Let me just
yeah, sure,
offer
continue,
you,
yeah,
if I
continue.
may. Well, people will tell me. By the way, I for 47 years believed in the globe and all the science that went with it.
Fair
Okay,
enough.
so it's only 10 years that I've. So as part of that, I had to go and review everything that I'd learned about the globe just to see whether I wasn't being kind of misled again. So people come and stand here and tell me that it's 5 miles, that they can see a ship going over the horizon, begin to lose its bow, its bottom, and then we lose it the same way. Well, we can do that experiment, and I'm sure you as a science teacher can do this, where you take a coin, for example, put the camera right on the tabletop, and then move that coin progressively further away from the camera. You will see less of it, but
because
from the bottom
that's
up.
perspective. Well, that's because you have the base of the Earth in the way. But if you look at the image of, say, wind turbines, or if there's been photographs of kind of cities across large lakes, so in the US across Lake Michigan, if you look across that, you see the top of the buildings, but you don't see the base
I've seen
of the
one
buildings.
where it appears to be most of the buildings, but when you apply the formula, the 8 inches per mile squared, apparently this meant to be, for that photo over Lake Michigan for Chicago, it's meant to be 2,000 feet or thereabouts. I won't squibble over what it is.
Of how much the curvature is.
Yeah, at 50 miles, because obviously it's 8 inches per mile squared is what we're told.
Yeah.
By that distance, we're talking about a lot of feet. That's the height of most of those buildings, so we shouldn't really be able to see any, but we can see most. And so with your photo there, for example, if I had a hot air balloon, you and I were standing on that beach, you've got an awesome camera, it's a civilian camera, not like the ones the military have got.
Well, that was on my phone. That was on my phone through a telescope, looking through a telescope, because I wanted to see that exact. Because I could see it with my eyes, and because I have a lot of students I have had discussion with about flat Earth, because some students do come up to me being like, because they've seen so much stuff online.
Okay, so but would you acknowledge? Let's just say we had a hot air balloon, or right behind us was a cliff that some of your students or you and I could then immediately go up to in the same weather conditions
and compare the difference
and compare if we could see any more of those wind turbines.
Exact situation, same photo, behind that place it's in Kent, on the Kent coast, looking out towards the wind turbines in the Thames estuary. As you got to the top of the cliff, you can see more of them.
So that's why the crow's nest was put at the top and the lighthouse was put up high, was because we know that the higher you are, the further the angle, you increase the angle of resolution.
Absolutely.
Therefore, you can see further, which is why the spire here, or it doesn't have one, does it?
No.
But the steeple for a cathedral normally is the first thing that you would see on approaching a city, because it's the highest point, right? And then the base of it you would only kind of see when, same as Everest, you walk towards, that's what you can see, the top you can see from the furthest away, and then other stuff resolves as you get closer, lower down. And that's exactly what we claim is happening with the ship, is that the further it goes away, the inverse is happening, is that it's kind of sinking down because of the angle of resolution. It's pinching everything into the horizon line.
But so if you saying that the Earth is flat and you are looking at something in a distance, how are you explaining the fact? So you're saying that it's disappearing below the horizon. How are you kind of describing that? How are you explaining that situation? So like with the wind turbines, how are you saying that the further away from the object you get, the less you can see?
Well, I think
I understand what you're saying about the photo of the camera on a surface. But in terms of someone looking,
well, one of the, so one of the things we could do that you can do yourself, it's not too hard to do. Instead, you could find a flat piece of land that is acknowledged to be flat, and say have a street lamp type light that you're standing under, and of course right now you're looking directly up at that, but as you move further away from that, it'll start to kind of come down and down and down and down until eventually you don't see that light anymore. The same is true with air, if I may, one more thing. Example is hot air balloons. You know, Sunday is a good day for hot air balloons, the weather's quite nice, so would you believe that there's about 500 hot air balloons in the air right now in England? We can't see any of them because we are too far from them.
That's a distance thing. That's your eyes not being able to resolve small enough images.
Well, it's partly that, but it's also about as you, no matter how big the image is, let's just say we took this cathedral, the tower, or the Burj Khalifa, and it's all flat sea level away from that. And if you travel 100 miles away, eventually all you will see is like the top of it, and then the further you get away, eventually you won't resolve any of it. And that's something to do with our eyes and something to do with.
But why, if the Earth is flat, can you only see the top? But with your kind of eyes being able to resolve it, if it's completely flat, even though it's smaller, you would still be able to see the whole building, not just the top of it.
Well, try this next time you're down at the beach. Try this where you put your head right on the shoreline. You put your head right down on the water, and there will be yachts in the near ground that will start to disappear for you in exactly the same way. You may still see the sail of it, but you won't see the hull.
But no, but if you are lying fully at water level
Yeah.
and you put your eye against the surface of the water,
Yeah.
completely flat water, you would see the base of that boat and the top of it. You would see the whole 100% until it gets to a point where it goes beyond the horizon to be able to start to spin.
Yeah, but now let's just say it's done that. It's gone past what we believe is your horizon or apparent horizon from that height, which is just inches above the so-called sea level. One, you've got that low level, even at 6 foot, you're still dealing with chop. My father was a ship's pilot, and I used to go out to, in Durban, I used to go out to the ships, and you wouldn't believe, if you're standing on the beach, the amount of swell and movement there is in the water.
I've done a lot of sailing myself, but
Right.
even on
So
a completely flat day where it is the point where you can see a almost perfect refraction, a reflection on the surface, not a diffuse reflection, but a completely specular reflection, there is no discernible surface change in that surface level of water. But if you were to look at that surface level across the surface of the water, within millimetres of the same height, you would still have that same process happening of seeing a full boat within 100 metres, or let's say the wind turbines again, you would see, if they were within 100 metres of you, you would see the entire object, and then as they got miles and miles away, 25 miles away, you would start to see them disappearing. What a question for you is, there was that documentary about Flat Earth that was... the one of the gentleman who was kind of quite a keen flat earther, and they did certain tests to prove themselves. There's that one where you have two posts with a hole at the top, same height, and shine the light through. If you were, say, 20 miles apart using a laser, you would expect, if the Earth was flat, to see the light through the two holes.
Yeah, no, I
so
wouldn't.
why wouldn't you? What would your... So if the Earth was totally flat, you're on completely, again, two sides of a lake, a completely flat level.
I know this one. So,
Yeah.
so what do you call it as a science teacher? You'll have to remind me. Is it Boyle's law?
What,
Where
for-
the
for-
refraction of objects
gases?
in... No, I've got the wrong one. It's
Snell's law.
Snell's law.
Yeah.
The refraction, you put the pencil in the water and
Yes.
it'll bend that, right?
Okay.
So light is being bent in water. We can agree this, yes?
It's not being bent in water. It gets bent as it goes across the surface between two objects with different densities.
So
So
when
it's
we-
not being bent by the water. It's being bent as it comes from the air into a more dense medium.
Okay.
That causes the light to
It's
slow
bending.
down and causes that refraction of the light.
So that
wouldn't
refraction,
happen within the air.
That's going to happen. Yeah, that's going to happen in air. because
Only
the air
if you've got
is-
different differential temperatures, and that would cause fluctuations rather than
What
complete
about the
differences.
moisture in the air?
But in a, say, from here to over there, to the top of that hill, the difference would be negligible.
Well, you gave me an example of
Unmeasurable.
10 miles.
Okay, even
But
still,
so I would
if you're looking over the surface of a lake
Yeah.
or a surface of a desert, for
Yeah.
example, let's go for a desert because it's much less humid.
Drier, yeah.
Yeah. So if
that's
you
a
were
better place to do it,
100
I
or
would
10
say.
10 miles apart, really there'll be about 1% variation in humidity between those two places. So if you were to shine a light between two holes, you would, if the surface of the Earth was completely flat,
Yeah.
expect there to be the light pass through.
Yeah.
And when these experiments were done by people who are kind of people who believe in the flat Earth, they saw that the light did not shine through the hole. They chose 2 points exactly the same height above sea level. They used kind of GPS data to kind of confirm that they're posted at the same height, the holes were at the same height. However, the light did not shine directly through. So what would be the explanation for that?
For me, it would have to be that there's a bending of the light.
But what's causing the bending of the light?
The moisture in the air.
But-
Now, remember, the light's not going to bend
But the moisture in
by
the air-
gravity, is it? It's not going to bend to
gravity won't.
follow
No.
the curvature of the Earth.
No.
So what people have done, they've done other experiments, because that one is a little bit of a, it does pose the question, but, and unless I can be sure that my laser is powerful enough to hold a true line, like a military one that can maybe do 100
Well, any
miles.
light travels in a straight line.
There is a diffusion it's like a bending of the light through the moisture, and particularly
But
over
that
a
wouldn't
lake
hap- but that
which
wouldn't
has got
happen-
moisture in the air.
That wouldn't happen with
That's more
gaseous
dense.
water. So water vapor in the air wouldn't be enough. There's not enough of a difference between two mediums to cause that diffraction happening.
Okay, so let me
It's
offer you
only when you
another-
have a kind of, say, air going through, light going through that window there.
Yeah.
That direct
Yeah.
surface between two mediums of different densities,
Yeah.
that's where you get refraction
Yeah.
happening.
Yeah.
But in the light, that's how we
Yeah.
can use lasers to, say, point to like shine a laser on the moon to reflect off the mirrors at the place on the moon to come back to the Earth. That can be done because
Yeah.
light will not
Yeah.
between here, 80 miles up where the
Yeah.
atmosphere finishes,
Yeah.
and then the next however many
Yeah.
hundreds of thousands of miles. to the
So I
moon.
don't know if you've ever done any long-range shooting.
Yes.
Okay, so I did some long-range shooting, and when I was a young man, we had to shoot at 2-mile range, and we know that the further we go, the more hyper-accurate your fine controls on the gun need to be
Yeah.
in order to hit the target, right? And so by the time you get to 10 miles, you are starting to kind of demand a level of perfect accuracy of that shot because
10 miles, you can't fire over 10 miles. No one's made a shot over 10 miles.
no, but your laser experiment that you cited.
But a
is at
laser
10
is an
miles.
object that has no mass.
No,
A laser's like
The point, no, let me finish.
Yes, continue.
The point is more to do with the stabilizing and the aligning of that would be, so it has to be so precise over 10 miles. So I'll offer you a different experiment. And
Well, can we continue with shooting for a second? Just the idea of the shooting.
Well, just let me tell you, we'll go back to
yeah,
shooting but people, because this is quick, people have taken like a mirror down to the beach, 6 foot, and they flashed at people 15 miles and further away. Now, according to the 8 inch per mile squared, that should be an impossible sighting to make, that you can see that. The same is true that I can see most, if not all of, in a clear day, the White Cliffs of Dover from France. Not possible from the beach of France.
Because that photo was taken on a beach just down the road from Dover, and when you look at France, you can see halfway
But according,
up.
I'll accept the half, but it's 300 feet of curvature according to the formula, which is the height of the White Cliffs. So anyway, so you can't. So for me, there are too many things that I can see at distance over water that would mean like there's questions about the laser as the best. Although people have done successful laser tests, they've done better tests where they've say put a light at 2 feet on the ice for 10 miles or 8 miles, and whether they can see those lights if they're only 2 feet high, from how far away they can see them is like. Come on, man, there's no curvature, there's nothing bending over that. The biggest lake that freezes, well, the one I know of is called Lake Billikol. Freezes over in the winter in Russia.
Deepest, not biggest.
It's only 300 miles long, it's not the biggest. But the biggest one that I know of that freezes over in the winter time, and they turn it into a great ice rink, and it's level, and that's 300 miles. So we're talking about much greater distances than the distances you offer. But come back to the sniper thing, or shooting. If you want.
So the reason I'm talking about the shooting is you've taken a shot over 2.5 miles, 3 miles, then you have to take into account the Coriolis effect. So which is caused by the rotation of a globe. So what proof, or what do you have to counter the presence of the Coriolis effect, which links into shooting, but also links into, if you look at maps of every single cyclone that's ever happened on the planet, none of them cross the equator, because the ones that they start in the tropical Cancer and tropical Capricorn, the ones move north and they move down south. That's as a result of the curvature of the Earth, or as a rotation of the Earth and the forces, the centripetal forces as a result of that. What do you have that can counter that idea or proves that process of those?
I'm glad you said it's an idea, because it is begging the question to say that because Coriolis, we must be spinning. Because as I say to people, that we're spinning, even though angular movement is 15 degrees per hour, because we're on the outside of a 4,000 mile radius, we're talking about speed of sound, 1,000 miles an hour of movement. So if all we're talking about with Coriolis is this kind of minor deviation because we're maybe pointing north or in the south or whatever, I would say that that's not, that's a begging the question, but I do have an answer for you. Now, my flat Earth journey, which started 10 years ago, took me into quantum physics. And then I went and got into this idea that everything is electromagnetic, like Nikola Tesla had said, that it's all electromagnetic and it's all toruses, it's all toroidal, it's all turning energy. And that we are possibly inside of a giant torus, and that torus is twisting possibly, say, clockwise in the northern section and counterclockwise in the southern section. And the equatorus, or equator, is the point where those two toroidal systems come into contact with each other, and that's your sort of midpoint. How the lights work and the stars and why the moon is rotating counterclockwise and in the southern hemisphere and clockwise in the northern hemisphere, which are observations I've made over a number of years now, can be explained by some of these things, but I don't necessarily have all of the answers. But is there a turning energy in our ether or in our environment? Yes, I don't step away from that. Famously, a friend of mine called Bob Nodell proved that with a ring gyro experiment back in that was put on Netflix.
No, that gyro experiment they did disproved the flat Earth process. They proved that the results they were looking for were to show that there was no rotation.
Well, remember when they did the interferometer work back in the 1800s, Nicholson, Morley, Gale. These scientists were doing the best work that possible, and they were looking to measure the movement of the Earth using interferometry. and they discovered that they couldn't prove that the Earth was spinning at the speed or traveling around the sun at the speed it claimed, but they were picking up this 3 to 4 mile an hour drift. This is according to the science that I've read.
Yeah,
So-
but then
so
when the flat
not-
earthers did that
not
experiment, they
pretended.
completely disproved that theory or that evidence that the people that believe in flat
Well,
Earth.
well, let me, if I
Yeah,
may
yeah,
clarify,
continue.
that was a documentary that was done as a hit piece. I don't know
Yeah,
if you're
no,
aware.
I know, I fully
So they
aware.
weren't looking to really sort of
but the-
reinforce what had been found, because it was the first time, very expensive piece of kit, and it was the first time they'd ever done that, and so they've
And
found
has
a
it been used
discovery.
since? And
Yes.
has it proved?
Yes, apparently they've done it.
Where's the data for you to show that they believe that it's flat as a result of that?
Well, I would suggest that you would. There are deep scientist guys. I'm not one of them. Deep scientist guys that exist in the globe Earth science and also in the flat Earth science. And these guys, one group is called FE Core, and the other one is Globebusters.
Okay.
These groups have done experiments to reaffirm and so on. And what they've discovered, and this is what they tell me, I haven't done this myself, is that they've taken the ring gyro to different elevations and gotten different results, which is contradicting this idea that it's because we're on this rotating 15 degrees an hour.
So
globe.
is it one group of scientists that have done that, or is it global,
Repeated.
repeated
I
by
can't
multiple
answer-
individuals with
I
multiple bits of
honestly
the same
cannot-
equipment?
yeah, I cannot
because
answer
that can't be
I cannot
that
answer
cannot
that,
be
but
used
let me
as
offer you this. If
no,
that
but
were,
it can't
if
be
that
used as
were
evidence.
used, if that were used as proof that the Earth is spinning, why isn't your science using it?
But they have. They've used those to
I haven't-
prove.
I
There's
haven't
plenty
heard
of evidence to
anywhere where
prove
it's
that
like,
that shows that it's.
this is the proof that we are
No,
spinning.
because if like they with that ring gyro, if they were able to produce something to show that the Earth was flat, that would be proven hundreds of times by similar people with scientists that have got exactly the
It's
same
not that
piece
it's
of
proving
equipment.
it's flat; it's proving that it's moving or not. I think it's that
Yes,
experiment.
but no, but yeah, it's that. But then at the same time, the inference is based on the fact that it's moving.
no,
so
as I
but
said to you,
it's
you're
but
begging
it's
the question.
no, but it's a rotational process.
There is a rotation in a torus, right? In an electromagnetic torus, it's all moving.
Yeah,
it's
okay.
it's like the atom. But instead of saying that, you've got this moving, spinning, tiny particle, I'm saying that, or even quantum physics, and I'd offer you can go back and watch this video again, but I would offer you the primer field experiments by David LaPointe and others from 2008 onwards. These have been repeated. He's even built tech based on this
repeated
stuff.
by him or repeated by other people,
Others. There's plenty of
like
people
peer
who've done-
reviewed.
Yeah, but it's called the primer field experiments.
Okay.
What he does is he takes a large glass tube, fills it with a gas, but inside he suspends two magnetic bolts oppositely charged, and then fires 80,000 volts into them, and he gets what looks like a quasar begin to form. And then, interestingly, if you follow the science, and he's got at least 5 hours of videos on exactly what he's done with this, is that you get an accretion disk forming between these two magnetic poles. It's like a place where matter can form. I even consider it to be the possibility that
Matter form or matter gather as a result of
like well, what
opposite
about if it's
charges and-
compression? Or compression through what we might call a black hole. In my sort of study of quantum, I started to think, wow, what if Earth is the top of a black hole and everything is being crushed in here? Because in quantum, they'll tell you there's so much energy rising through the system all the time. I know I'm getting into theory here, and until
It's all theory.
exactly, but so is dark matter. And so is,
Yeah, and,
you know,
and,
so
and,
is
and no one claims that
billions
it's,
of miles.
but there's,
of-
no one's claiming that no one's found it, no one's proved it. They think it exists because it potentially answers issues in
so
data that they've already
do,
collected.
did they teach you Airy's failure?
No.
George Airy was the astronomer royal in 1865, and he came up with this experiment to prove whether the Earth was moving or the stars were moving. And he filled a telescope with water, and using various clever maths and whatnot, they ascertained that it was actually the stars that were moving, and it failed to prove that the Earth was moving. Hence, it was buried and called Airy's
Yeah, but
failure.
since then, there's been so much other experimental proof that the Earth is the one that's rotating. That the Earth is the stars obviously do move, but they move on a
You
much
remember Piltdown Man?
Yeah.
You remember the coelacanth? Coelacanth was missing for hundreds of millions of years and then turned up alive in Madagascar.
No, I get that, but then
Billions
it's,
of years.
But,
and it kind of messes with the whole evolution
there's
thing.
so many
and
proofs
there's so
since,
many things
like,
that I used to believe.
the
just like
Copernican theory of like the fact that the Earth was the center of the universe, and then since then it's changed to like Galileo then discovering that actually no, the sun was the center of the solar system.
You're old enough
And-
to remember WMAP,
But
right?
then so
You remember
much, but there's so
WMAP?
much stuff that's proved completely contradictory to a lot of the things you're saying, but then I don't understand why in the last 15, 20 years, flat earthers appeared again out of the fact that it seems to be that there's more communication between people online, that
Maybe.
people with certain views are able to kind of get their confirmation bias from other people that hold similar views. But what the one thing that baffles
the
me
claim
is
I make against science is that it's confirmation bias. Remember, when you're 7 years old and want to get a gold star in class, you start to answer, yes, gravity is the explanation for this, relativity is the explanation for that. And so it is all confirmation bias.
no, but
It's
there's
when-
people who are looking to potentially, like when scientists are carrying out proper scientific experiments, trying to do proper peer-reviewed and kind of looking to kind of find and prove other people's theories. They don't necessarily want to prove it, but they do the same experiment with a completely open mind of what the results would be, and then make the kind of conclusions based on that.
But always are based on the foundation of, relativity and so on. And I wanted to offer to you, just we skipped over this, but Nikola Tesla, which I'm sure you understand how smart this man was. If the story is true about who he was and what he understood, unbelievable mind. In fact, Einstein was asked, "What's it like to be the smartest man alive, Mr. Einstein?" "Don't ask me, ask Mr. Tesla," he said. And he is claimed to have said that everything is, if you want to understand the secrets of the universe, think in terms of frequency, vibration. Everything is sound and light and so on. And that's how I believe it to be. And he believed in the thing called the ether, which was an ancient idea. I know, obviously, it's like, oh no, we don't have.
It's proven
we
so
don't have,
many times.
Well, I'm just offering you that I believe that this atmosphere that we're in is a sort of a live soup. And he believed that there was energy enough in his palm of his hand to run a city. That all this free energy and all of this kind of thing. So I think that the ether was disbanded, I believe anyway from my research, that Einstein had to get rid of the ether in order for relativity, the theory of relativity to come in. I believe that the ether is still a thing. It's a turning force that is like as I said, the 3 to 4 degrees an hour is this turning 3 to 4 miles an hour is this turning electromagnetic system that we're all in. And that this is, I know, mind-blowing, but I believe that the sun and the moon are small and local, and they're not individual objects.
There's people I follow online, and I've used the devices myself to take photographs of the sun. And they are not small; they are humongous. And you can work out the sun. We can work out how far away it is based on light, the speed of light in which light travels. We can work out how far the moon is. We know the moon is X distance away. It takes 8 seconds for light to travel there and back, because we can shine lasers at the moon onto targets that have been placed by moon landers.
Well, let me offer you this to counter that, just as food for thought, and that is that, how powerful are our telescopes really?
Massively.
Now, when you zoomed in on those water towers, those air turbines, they were 35 miles away, and really you couldn't get a great resolution on them.
But
and
I had a phone held against the eyepiece, and that was a cheap, small telescope. But the ones you spend £15,000 on, they are significant to the point where they can resolve.
Well, this is the test
kind of
that
the stars in large nebula and in massive constellations.
Well, this is the test that I think every good scientist should be willing to do: is to take his expensive telescope up to a higher elevation and look at things on a clear day. Obviously, look at things that are 40 and 50 miles away, and see how much of that you can use to fill the viewfinder. Because with the Nikon P1000 or P950 or whatever people use, they can fill the viewfinder. In fact, they can zoom in on a quarter or an eighth of the moon. They can basically fill that whole zoom finder. But yet ask them to do that on like a building that's 50 miles away, and they will struggle to do that.
Yeah, you can do that perfectly well. I've used a telescope for exactly those purposes. I have a large lens on my camera. It's got a 500mm focal length. With the moon, I can get quite a good image of the moon, but it's looking at it. It's such a massive object that is able to fill up a large portion of your.
Or it's so close. Those are the two things on the table.
Fine. But fair enough. But if you have, say, light reflecting off the surface of the moon from a laser, that we can do, that has been done multiple times. Individual scientists can do it if they want to.
Why would I trust the government? Did you trust them in 2020?
So what? What do they gain from?
Did you have to make students put a nappy on their face in 2020?
Well, yeah, but then also I understand that does work.
What? They've admitted. It's been admitted that
they can do something because they reduce the particulate matter.
Have you not seen that one with the chain link fence and the mosquitoes? Like trying to stop a mosquito with chain link. If viruses are real, they're so small that they'd.
But it's the fact that you stop droplets passing it.
We
Anyway,
won't
we're not
agree
going to
on
go into that,
Yeah,
that
but
theory now.
well, I used to be mainstream just like you,
but it's
brother.
not, it's not mainstream.
But did
That's
you
the
know?
point. It's,
We've just gone through
so much of it is proven by thousands of people doing the same experiments. And the idea that if the Earth is flat, that is hundreds of thousands of people's worth involved in some massive lie.
No, because you are as far as
all global governments, all the people working global
I don't
governments.
think that you're lying.
No,
In the
but
same way, I'm not lying, right? I truly believe what I see, and you truly believe what you see, and you will raise your children as I did, on the basis of living on a globe and evolution, all those things. I did.
But why
finished
would that be something that? Why would that be some? When we've like the idea of being to space, being to the moon, those kind of things, being able to take photographs of the Earth from the moon. Why would those have all been falsified? For what gain would people get for kind of having this idea of the globe and using that as a kind of manipulation technique for the general public? So what is it about?
One of the
theory?
quickest answers, which obviously for a scientist may not be the answer you want to hear, but for me it's to hide God. And that to hide God, that for me is that God is in you and that you are the expression of whatever that creator is. Now, I had a scientific mind, and so for my 30s and 40s, I completely kicked any sort of spiritual stuff into touch. I was like, 14 billion years, Big Bang. Here we are, Goldilocks zone, 4 billion years after the sun came about. And then thanks to 65 million years ago, dinosaurs going away, marsupials got to be monkeys and us. I believed all of that stuff, really. And for me, it's about diminishing that you are the expression of God.
But why, again, you could go out and look in, say, the cliffs in Dorset, find fossils that are 120 million years old. You can find those. You can prove that age. You can see that they are similar, related to things that are living now.
Coelacanth.
Well, then,
it never went away. And I would say that
because there's so much space that they could vary. They're not searching every single depth of mile of the deep sea.
But the thing is that we are given a numbering system or a dating system based on carbon decay and so on and so forth. So it's like they've given us the measuring tool with which we will then ascertain
for organic compounds, but then you can use kind of various other argon decay, various other nuclear decays to measure the age of rocks. My degree was in geology and environmental geoscience.
Oh, okay. So you really understand
there's the existence of lead on our planet is solely present as a result of radioactive decay of uranium and other heavy nucleotides.
I wouldn't argue with you on that.
But then at the same time, that's proving that the Earth is billions of years old, because the decay sequence of the nucleotides to get to stable lead 209, it is a billions of years of process. So there's no way that you can say that it's all to do with.
Well, if I can offer you this as
I am appreciating talking to you. I'm going to have to go in a minute because
people are making coal in like a single day. Scientists, guys with great brains.
No, they're not making coal.
They can take wood and turn it into coal.
They can turn it into charcoal, not coal.
Well.
Which is essentially other things heated out of wood. It's not coal. Because coal is something that's formed over 400 million years.
I really admire and appreciate your candor and your approach.
No, I just wanted. I saw that you were talking, and I wanted to kind of chat with you. But
we don't have to agree. But if I can give you a flyer, you can show it to your students and say you met a flat earther.
I like to have these discussions with people that have opposing or different views to me.
Can I leave you with this consideration, that I don't see it as a flat disc or a plate in space. None of that makes sense to me at all. What makes much more sense to me is that we are inside an oblate spheroid rather than on the outside of it. And in the inside, where the core of the apple, an orange, for example, is an oblate spheroid. And
on the inside surface of a sphere?
No. So now for me in physics, heavy things settle and light things go up, right? So if I take a balloon and put dirt and sand and rocks and some gas in it, those gases will organize lightest at the top, and the heaviest stuff the lead and so on, with a bit of shaking, will settle to the bottom, right? At the very bottom. And then if the water level is low enough, some of that sand would stick above the water level, above the sea level. And that for me is my understanding of the entire universe, all inside of that balloon, all inside of that orange, all inside of that bubble. And right at the center of it is the only solid part of the orange, the seeds. And the seeds are what I would believe that the macrocosm would be our continents. And we are inside of that, but the moisture, because all the fruit in nature, everything has a shell, a bark, a peel, a skin, everything. and
See-
the wet stuff is on the inside, and the dry stuff is on the outside.
So I could, what you've been saying up until this point, I could potentially look into and
Yeah.
understand where people get that viewpoint. That, for me, is too far.
These ideas
Because-
came from my study of quantum
Yeah.
physics
No, that-
and listening
that's
to 60 symbols and the best scientists, the best professors that the UK and other countries have got. Fermilab. I spent more than 100 hours, if not 200 hours, trying to soak up as much as my intellect has the capacity of to understand what they're seeing at the quantum level, to see how that fits with a flat Earth paradigm. And in this paradigm that I just described to you, I was wanting to shout into my YouTube, to the professors, listen, look at it from it's an oblate thing, but we're not on the outside. We're sort of in the center where the accretion disk is. Remember primer field experiments. David Lapointe, show your class them. They will be blown away.
All right,
I've
well-
really enjoyed talking to you.
Thank you.
Good luck.
I understand where you get your views, but I don't.
All the best. All the best. Wow, guys, that was a good conversation. Earth is rising, it's not stationary. Who's saying that? That's not Chiswick, is it? You haven't been caught up in that bullshit, have you? Making claims about things outside of the system is, fanciful. I would. The only thing that I can offer in kind of support of it is that if we were a bubble inside of water, then that bubble would have a propensity, unless it was in neutral buoyancy, to rise. Earth is flat, not a spinning ball. But the idea that it's something that causes this downward force is preposterous to me, because I can go into water and that downward force is gone, and it's because of displacement. Earth is flat, not a spinning globe. We've been lied to. NASA never went to the moon. The International Space Station is all faked in Hollywood studios and a swimming pool. Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space. You can't live on a spinning ball. You would fall off a ball. Rocks don't float. Gas giants don't coalesce or reflect the sunlight. There are lights in the sky, they're called stars, wandering stars, but there are no rocks floating in space. That's all made up, Disney. NASA is Disney for children and adults. Yeah, I think that, I was thinking about that earlier actually, the Earth rising thing, and Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space. Earth is flat. We don't live on a spinning rock, and we don't evolve from monkeys. We are the center of creation, created perfect. I wanted to say WMAP to that guy, and it never got to it. But it's like a science here. Earth is flat. Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space. Earth is flat. Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space. We've been lied to about who we are and where we are. NASA have never been to the moon. It's all shown you on TV, but it's not real. Water will find level. Water will find level. It cannot live on the side of a ball. Water could not pool on the side of a ball. That's physical impossibility. But for a magical term in your mind called gravity, water runs downhill. If you want to fly, you can go with your clip. Don't have to be sneaky about the filming. Earth is flat. Earth is flat. We've been lied to about monkeys turning into man. We've been lied to about balls turning into continents, planets. There are no such things as planets. Earth is flat. The skylights are stars. They are lights. They are not rocks. Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space. NASA faked the moon landings to keep you a slave, to enslave humanity so that we never realize our true Godhead, that we are the creators in expression. We are the expression of the Most High, not monkeys evolved from a ball or a Catholic Big Bang. Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space. Space is faked. It's all Hollywood, CGI. Earth is flat, not a spinning rock. Water runs downhill, and when pools, it will form level. The water will form level and be parallel to the next body of water down the hill, and parallel to the next lake, and parallel to the ocean. That's why we say sea level. Oh my gosh. Phil, how you doing, darling?
How you doing?
Good. This is me doing my thing.
How you doing? Good. It's my brother.
Oh, okay.
Jez, nice to meet you.
Jez.
Yeah.
Let me give you a flyer, Jez. Don't know if you've ever looked into this topic.
Not recently.
No. Well, I would highly recommend it. Sure. As a way to freeing ourselves from the enslavement, as I was just saying to my live stream and those around us. So you're here in Winchester?
We're here in Winchester.
Oh, just living or just just visiting?
Well, it's halfway between
Oh,
where we
that's-
live.
oh,
So we've
okay.
met here. Yeah. Where are you guys at the moment?
Yeah, we're not far, about 10 miles from here.
Okay,
at the
great.
moment. And then we're on our way to St. Ives.
Nice. Okay. For how long?
A month or two.
Lovely. Okay.
Yeah. And then we'll see from there. Yeah, just this is me. I go out when I can, and just do a little bit of, I don't know, street preaching.
Yeah. Have you received much abuse today, or is it okay?
No, not more than normal. I think it's been fairly mild. People have been fairly docile, sheepish. Sheepish.
What normally happens?
Oh, you get a mix. You get from people who are super angry and really angry, to people who are already on board or are interested. I was just talking to a science teacher who managed to ask me some questions without getting annoyed, and was interested to hear what I had to say on certain subjects. But of course, it takes a long time for us to unpick the brainwash. It's dyed in the wool. You see it with, I come from South Africa, you see it with older people who are sort of impregnated with apartheid, racist type of ideology. And for some of them at their older age, you can't let it go. Even younger people, it's not necessarily age related. But, the longer you've been put in a mind soup, the harder it is to see outside of it. So I get a mixed bag. I think more people are like, oh, what? And in the 6 years I've been doing it, a lot more people are aware of it than they were back in 2018 when I started doing the street stuff. So it's like it's a there's maybe Dawn of the Dead or whatever, Shaun of the Dead. It's kind of like that in a way. Most of us are lost in this reality. But I think that a few people are meant to find out, and that's why I come out to do it, is to try and touch those lights that were meant to spark.
Where did you two meet?
Oh.
Dave was house sitting, a neighbour of mine
In Somerset.
in Somerset. Yeah. So yeah.
Small world.
I'll see you soon. Let's speak.
Yeah.
Nice to see you. Give my love to.
I will do.
Okay. And Izzy.
Nice to meet you.
Cheers.
Bye.
Earth is flat. Earth is flat, friends of Winchester. We are not on a spinning ball. Water's going to find level. Hello, mate.
What's your proof that Earth is flat?
I start with water level as my baseline.
Yeah.
That all water, when at rest, is measured to be level.
Why would the Earth be flat and then the other planets are like round that you can see physically?
Okay, let's say I agree. I can see lights in the sky that we call Mars, Venus, Mercury, and so on. But
Even
when
the
I
moon as
look
well.
at them, when I look at them, what I see is a round thing.
Yeah.
I've been taught since young to believe that that's a sphere. It may be a sphere, but I'm not sure that it's a sphere. Let's just put it like that. So I see like these twinkling lights that are vibrating at their own speed and in their own pattern, individually different from each other. And if you've studied a little bit of cymatics and where they can take like a vibrating plate, put salt on it or whatever, sand, and then they vibrate at a certain frequency and it takes up these geometric patterns, and then they change the frequency and it takes up a different pattern. Well, Mars and Venus and so on seem to be vibrating at their own frequency that they retain alone. That you look at the other ones and they're vibrating at a different frequency. And so that's a different color and a different shape and the different, so Capella and all these other different styles. You look at them, and you go like, damn, that's completely different to the one I was looking at just now. Now NASA will give you a perfect sphere, and you believe that it's a rock or it's a gas giant and all these sorts of things. I used to believe the same thing too.
Yeah.
But now I say I can see lights, and the most powerful camera that I can point at them, they appear to be doing this sonoluminescent thing where you can take a star in a jar experiment, where you can take a frequency, fire it into a liquid, and get it to form a star just by using vibration.
Yeah.
So, and then, if they are spheres of light, then so be it. But it doesn't mean because the football is round that the pitch has to be round like a ball,
Yeah.
Just because the disco lights are moving in a particular way has got nothing to do with the floor.
Oh yeah.
And so all we're debating here is whether what are we seeing in the sky? And when I look at the moon, say I see a disk of light, very bright at the moment, and it seems to be in my clouds. Actually, if you look at the full moon tonight, or nearly full moon tonight, if there's clouds, and they often are, you'll find that it's actually only lighting up the clouds near your house in your village. But down the road, 5 miles, 10 miles, it looks dark. Your friend who lives 10 miles down the road, they will say, no, it's only lighting up by my house. Down by you, it looks dark.
Yeah.
So what exactly is the moon is a big conundrum. We notice that the moon, at half moon, for example, a quarter moon, you'll notice that the sky, the shadow part of the moon is the same color as the sky, whether it's blue, black, green, whatever. Oh, no, not green.
But back to your point about how you look over your friend over there, and he says there's light over there, but when you look over there, it's dark. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't you think that's because where it's curved, you don't see the light kind of reflecting because it's reflecting over there, so it's not. You know how light works in like you're seeing things because the light's reflecting on that and going into your eyes. Yeah. So when you say because it's round, the light is shining over there. Over there, you look over there, it's dark because that light is shining over there. It's not shining towards your eyes. That's why you can't see its light.
Well, okay. Let's assume it's what they say it is. It's 250,000 miles away, and it's this super bright light, and it's illuminating half of the Earth at the same time. So really, that if I did it in my bedroom or at home or whatever, and I took a lamp and I shone it on a football, I would find that to recreate that same effect, I would actually be lighting up the entire skin of that half of the football. And then if I had to then try and somehow put a sheet or something to mimic the cloud layer, I would find that whole sheet was illuminated across the length of it, the whole of that. That's what I would expect to see in physical reality. So no, there's a bunch of things. I mean, one of the weirdest things for me about the moon is that if you start paying attention, you'll notice that the crescent, there's a crescent moon. You'll notice that the crescent, as you watch it through the sky, it takes hours to do this, but it's actually turning in a clockwise fashion. That's in the northern hemisphere. When you go to South Africa or the southern hemisphere, you'll find that it's actually going the opposite way. It's going in an anti-clockwise direction, and it's inverted. Which doesn't make sense on a flat Earth or a globe Earth model. So exactly how it works is really a conundrum and a discussion for people who've already stepped over the basics of this place isn't moving, and the water that between here and France is level. The ships are not going downhill and then coming back up from France. They're not. They're over a body of level water. Hence
then that's what the gravity is. That's why it's not going down and up. As in, like, obviously it's going over there. Feel like it's not going down.
So what is gravity?
Gravity is a force that's caused by a very, very large object. When an object gets bigger than a certain amount, then it has a gravitational
it's like pulling
force.
things too. But it's then because people show me something, they'll drop their keys or their bag and say this is gravity, right? Well, okay, let's say we were to call that gravity. You still have to express a theory as to how that then applies to a globe as such that a plane can fly over, around it, under it, and so on. The pilot doesn't have to allow for any curvature because gravity takes care of all of that, and so on. So, no, is the quick answer to that. We have seen, because of high-power cameras nowadays, we have seen hundreds of miles over water. The world record photograph in the Guinness Book of Records is 250 miles over water, where they can see an island at sunset, where 2 days a year the sun sets behind this French island, and they can see it from 250 miles away.
Saying like because it's flat, that's why you can see that far.
Yeah, because if it was a globe, there's a formula for the curvature over water on the globe. I don't agree with it, but it's 8 inches per mile squared, and so because it's a mile squared, that by 10 miles you're talking about 800 inches. And by 100 miles, you're talking about 80,000 inches, And so in a lot of cases, that accounts for most mountains and things that we can see on a clear day or with powerful lenses, we can see 100 miles. The American military can shoot at a ship line of sight with a laser. They can shoot a dart 100 miles from one ship to another. So we know that we can see too far to account for this so-called curvature. And then I ask people, can you tell me what direction we're spinning?
What about like say for example you like go all the way around the world. Like if it's flat, isn't there a lens to the flat? Like what's your theory behind that?
Okay. Well, let's just say we turned Winchester into the Earth, the flat Earth. Yeah? Now Winchester has probably got a ring road that you could drive around, and if it's not exactly a ring road, you might have to tuck in here and then come back out there. But basically, you could do a circle, drive around Winchester.
Yeah.
Well, this is the same as on a flat Earth, is that we can plot how ships can sail around a flat Earth, no problem. And in fact, in the 14, 15, 1600s, before there was even a globe invented, I know they say the globe idea is very old, but the first globe is 500 years old. So before there was that, they were all sailing on a flat maps, basically on everything being flat around them. So we can definitely circumnavigate the flat Earth. We've looked at that. The thought is that there is a container. Well, water must always be contained. So we believe that there is a container which is called the Antarctic ice ring. And that's like the big lake. And in fact, on average, Antarctica is the highest continent on Earth. It is, it is just mainly 200, 400 meters high. And so apparently there is this ring that goes around us. And what makes me believe it is that they signed something called, in 1957, they signed something called the Antarctic Treaty, which stops civilians from just traveling into Antarctica and exploring anywhere they like. I met Ranulph Fiennes, he's a well-known British explorer. I met his crew, that he was going to do an exploration across one peninsula of Antarctica. And even he, although he's Sir Ranulph Fiennes, super famous guy, took him 5 years to get permission simply to walk one peninsula. We've never flown from one side and come out 180 degrees on the other side. There's lots of things. Captain Cook
so you reckon Antarctica is kind of the edge, basically, yeah?
It's a theory, but I mean, as I said, water must be contained. So eventually there must be some kind of containment system. And I believe the same is true with gas. Gas requires containment. If your deodorant can to be there in your bathroom, it needs to be contained. If you puncture it, that will equalize into the surrounding environment. Well, the same is true with our atmosphere here, If you had to open the door to a vacuum chamber, the speed at which the air would rush in would be dangerous. And so the idea that our atmosphere hasn't been ripped off versus it must be contained so that it doesn't get ripped off into the vacuum of space, if the vacuum of space is even real. Because most of us believe that it's water, that, like the Bible said, God separated the waters from the waters, and that when we look at stars, it's sonoluminescence, or the star and jar experiment, rather, we're looking at frequency in water, that's creating that kind of pattern that we're seeing. In fact, if you look at your swimming pool with on a sunny day, and you'll notice how the bottom of the pool is doing this shimmering thing, that's when I zoom in on some stars, I'm like, damn, that looks just like the bottom of my pool when it's doing that. Not that I have a pool, but So there's many other things that we just take for granted because we're taught them when we're 7 years old. We're taught them when we can't really critically challenge the teacher, and even if we can, as I did when I was young, I said, no, she's trying to explain to me that the gravity is this water in a bucket experiment. They'll swing the string with the water in a bucket, and I go, look at that, that's centrifugal force holding the water in that bucket. That's gravity. I'm like, no, but you've got a bucket and string, and you're creating that force by spinning this thing, and it's obviously sitting in the bottom of the bucket, forced down there by that.
I agree. A lot of things they do try and teach you is what the system wants you to learn. But I guess. What's your goal with all this kind of stuff? Is it just sort of spread awareness? Or
mine is for me, flat Earth is like a gateway truth to realizing who we really are. Because actually, we are the divine expression of a creator. That's my belief. That we are a divine expression of a creator. And until we know this, until we know that this place is created, it's like a Eden project. It's got a dome over it. It might be a whole ball. I don't know, but that we're standing on this perfect terrarium that has been created by our creator.
No, I believe I'm religious as well. I believe, like, in terms there's a creator, and who's created us, and I feel like life is a test to see how good you are in this world and so on.
And be not deceived, and
look into everything that you're told. Don't just believe anything you're told. No, I 100% agree with that.
And Matthew 24 will say, at the end of times, the majority are to be deceived, even amongst the elect. We have been seeded with deception, and I believe our true mission is to set aside the deception.
Yeah, yeah.
If you are being deceived and then you're putting your head under the pillow and saying, I don't want to know that I'm being deceived, well, then you're hiding from the truth of who you really are.
Of course.
And then so I think that Jesus was a messenger who came to tell us how important we are, that you will go and do greater things than I. And that I am the way, the truth, and the life. And I say to people that if you look in the mirror, we're created in the image of God. So you are the expression of God. And when you say those words, I am the way, the truth, and the life, you're talking to yourself, not to the preacher, not to the imam, not to the science teacher. You're talking to yourself. And so I think that the truth is written on our hearts, and the only way back to love, back to correcting all of the wrongs of this place and not being caught up with their 2020 CV19 nonsense and all of these sorts of things is you're only going to do that when you're watching the world through clear glasses or through without the lens of deceit that is hiding the truth about who you.
No, I agree with that side a lot, definitely.
So for me, it's all electromagnetic, but I think there is a loving God that created this place. But for some reason, whether, as you say, it's a test, or whether just the devil is in charge, or Satan's will is ruining everything on purpose.
The devil's still around. Think so,
But the devil is also in the detail, and I think it may even exist within us. It's like we have, because we are the expression of God, we have everything. We are a microcosm of the macro. And so we have the potential for good and the potential for not good. And we are meant to come into balance. We are meant to have tested the waters, gone out and gotten drunk, and then realized, no, that's not the way to look after God's temple. I need to right my own ship. I need to fix. But it's okay. It's not to be in judgment of that. It's more to go, okay, this is how you learn, because last night you fell over and hurt yourself as a consequence of that, or over 5 years, 10 years, or 20 years, you're like, your body's starting to age really fast, and you're slipping off this mortal coil more quickly. So it's always free will that you can choose to learn the lesson or not. Whether we come back or not is moot. But yeah, I think we are meant to be our own masters.
We're going to go, but we'd like a key stick.
That's very kind of you. Yeah.
Thank you.
There you go. No, it was a good chat, everyone.
Thanks very much.
No worries.
That's kind.
Take care.
Go well. Bye-bye. How often does that happen? Earth is flat, not a single rock in space.
I'm not sure it is.
You can believe all you like, but water will run downhill. Water will run off the ball. Earth is flat. Earth is flat. No. There's a healthy chat room. Moved to Portugal. Great weather. True about that. Hot in the summer and quite cold in the winter where I was in the mountains. In flow. Thanks, darling. Look at me. It's very tasty, I think. I can't talk with a mouthful. That's flat. Their conversation later will be fruitful. Yes, absolutely. Earth is flat, not a spinning globe in space. Man never landed on the moon, and we didn't evolve from monkeys. Earth is flat, not a spinning globe in space. Water is always going to find level. Water will run downhill. Water will run downhill and find level when at rest. You cannot put water on a ball and expect it to stay there. You know that. Gravity is merely an expression of buoyancy and density in a medium we call air. In a medium we call water, the equation is quite different. Gravity has got nothing to do with that. Earth is measured flat. Yes, it is.
That's what I reckon.
Yep, you're right about that.
It's a map.
Yes.
It's a map.
Flat map. We live inside of a dome.
It's magic.
Earth is flat. Research flat Earth. Free your mind from the globe trap. We don't evolve from apes. And you don't walk on the side of a ball when you're going to Australia. That's ridiculous. Nothing in your body tells you that you've gone upside down. The gyroscope on the plane doesn't tell you you've gone upside down. Just your imagination believes you are now upside down in Australia. And that rivers and lakes are clinging to the underside of a ball like ticks on a pig's belly. Absolute poppycock, friends. Water will always find level. And you can't point the direction that we're spinning at faster than the speed of sound. Faster than the speed of sound we're spinning. But you can't show it. You can't demonstrate it. You can't measure it. Earth is not moving because we're on a stationary plane. And the sea is level. There's only one sea level upon Earth. Just the one. Earth is flat. Earth is flat. You can't run on the side of a ball. You'd fall off a ball. The lights in the sky are lights in the sky. They are not rocks and gas giants. That's complete made-up pseudoscience come from your comic book when you were a child. No one's going on the Project Enterprise. You can't be Luke Skywalker. I'm sorry to break your bubble, but Disneyland and NASA are one and the same. All made up pseudoscience to trick you into being a good slave. Are you a good slave, Winchester? Did you lock down properly in 2020? Did you follow all the safe and effective guidance that can't harm anyone? Did you? The reason that the majority went along with 2020 is because we have been cuckolded, weakened, broken, and enslaved by people who would demean the Creator, demean God, and ultimately demean you. Because you are the center of creation, not an evolved ape, not an evolved monkey on the side of a spinning ball. The vacuum of space, if it were real, would suck off the atmosphere in a nanosecond. Study thermodynamics and you will realize that the idea that we are not enclosed is complete pseudoscience. And the idea that water is sticking on the side of a ball in a lake or running up the side of Africa and the Nile is comic strip craziness. Very nice. Very nice. I bet actually going to on the option to look on my map. Hopefully you can work your way back from South America. That's not bad, eh? I mean, I'm not 100% sure it's like that. Earth is flat. Earth is flat. NASA never went to the moon. The only thing NASA took to space was your imagination. Tim Peake is a deceiver. He never left Earth. He did his spacewalk in a swimming pool in Texas. Spacewalks are conducted in a swimming pool in Texas. Yes, that's where they do the training. And then they put the blue screen behind it, and it's the real thing, just like Sandra Bullock. Sandra Bullock also went to space in the same way that Tim Peake went to space. Space may be the final frontier, but it's made in a Hollywood basement. Earth is flat, my friends. Water is always going to find level. And guess what? Earth is 70% water and therefore 70% level. The sea level on the east coast of England is the same as the sea level on the west coast of England. All topographical maps are given a height above mean sea level for the entire Earth plane. Earth is not a spinning rock, Winchester. Can you point the direction we're spinning? Oh, hold on. Let's think about which direction the sun is moving before we can work out that we're spinning at 1,000 miles an hour, faster than the speed of sound. But you can't feel it. You can't measure it. Water's level. Water will flow downhill and then pool level. Water will always find and seek level. That's why we say sea level. Ships are not going over the horizon. Ships are going out of your perspective. That science teacher, he agreed that if you went higher up, you would see more of the target. Earth is flat. Earth is flat, Winchester, not a spinning rock in space. It's hard to believe that NASA is actually Disney. Hey, Planet Drive. Hard to believe that NASA is an arm of Disney. We never landed on the moon, and the International Space Station is all faked in a studio designed to make you to believe that man is traveling in low Earth orbit. If we went to the moon 60 years ago with technology of that time, why have we not gone back? Cue the excuse, so we don't want to spend the money on it. We spend $80 million, Americans spend $80 million a day on NASA. $80 million a day, what have they given us? Microwave ovens and memory foam mattresses. Don't use a microwave oven, it's bad for you. Distill your drinking water. Do not drink Council Pop, it's bad for you. Keep a clean, natural diet, especially for the young ones. But don't bring them up on this brainwashed idea that they are evolved apes living on the side of a spinning rock. That is poppycock. Ah, Red Bull. I'm going to ask them about Felix. So how are you guys doing? I haven't been able to keep on much. Yeah. We look into it a little more and we realize it's not coincidence, it's actually rising Earth. If you look into no, I disagree.
I was literally just
Excuse me, Red Bull. Red Bull. Can I ask you a quick question?
Yeah.
I don't need a Red Bull, but have you heard of the Felix Baumgartner Red Bull jump?
No.
You didn't hear about that? A guy called Felix Baumgartner got into a capsule with a Red Bull. It's called the Red Bull jump.
Yeah.
And he went up to about 150,000 feet. Maybe 200,000 feet.
I
The
think I have
highest
heard
any
of
man
this
has ever gone, yeah.
Yeah.
And people, when they look at the footage of him being so high up, they say, look, you can see that the Earth is a globe based on the footage of his outside of his capsule. But as he jumps out of the capsule, you'll see the horizon from that height is perfectly level.
Yeah. Does that mean it's what, flat?
Earth is flat.
Interesting.
So I wanted to
about that.
because I know you know the feeling. Well, you may want to go and check this out yourself.
Yeah.
But actually, to find the footage is a little harder. But as he jumps out of his cupola, there's a camera behind him that isn't a fisheye lens camera, and it looks perfectly flat. Now, people who live in Nevada or wherever it
But
was.
surely that's just because it's a camera. Like, I don't know, if you're taking a landscape picture, things always kind of look
level and flat. Yeah, we call it horizontal.
Yeah.
Yeah. And actually,
But that doesn't mean it's not curved.
well, then I know we're taught when we're young to believe that it's curving, but then when you discover that there's a formula for measuring curvature, no one of us ever got told to go out and actually measure. Like even when you were 10, 12 years old, where the teacher said, okay, you guys could stand 3 miles away from each other. Let's go and measure this amount of curvature, which should be about 50 inches at 3 miles. By the time it's 10 miles, it's 800 inches. So you should be able to see something disappear at 10 miles and never get it to come back because it's gone over the curve. But we can zoom in on things that are 10 miles, 20 miles, 30 miles, 50 miles away. And if it was curved, we wouldn't be able to see those things. So I just wanted to offer you that, and you know the world.
I like that fact. That's a fun fact.
The world is electromagnetic. About the Felix jump, people say who live in Nevada say that wow, if you look at that picture of the fisheye lens, it looks like a quarter of the globe. And of course, Nevada is tiny on the scale of the globe. So it's even Neil deGrasse Tyson, a well-known astrophysicist, said you're not high enough even at his height to see curvature. So you can't see it from a plane. There's loads of pilots who say they fly over flat.
But that doesn't make
non-rotating
it
Earth.
not true.
Okay. But does it make it true simply to say, I think that it's curving? In science, we should go and measure that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've tried to measure that curvature, and I've found, and others have done the same thing.
Yeah.
They've found that we cannot physically measure curvature. We can
So
see
we'll just never
observations
know.
that appear.
Yeah.
Well, why would you say we never know when if I can measure, say, a 1 mile lake with a laser, or a 2 mile lake with a laser, or I can take Lake Bilikal, which is a Russian lake that freezes over every year in winter.
Yeah, that's cool.
300 miles long, and it's an ice rink. 300 miles. The
That's cool.
Suez Canal is 120 miles long and engineered level. So I would say that what we see is everything being level in the world around us, rather than it curving. But we must be in a container. We must live, just like this drink of yours,
Would
is
you
under
like one?
pressure. No, thank you.
Because we're going to have to go hand them out
Okay.
because we've got a time
I'll
limit.
give you my flyer.
Thank you.
I know you're at work.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
take my flyer,
Okay.
free your mind.
Thank you.
You know what? My daughter, who's 25 years old, when she was about this big, about
Yeah.
5 years old, she said, Daddy, is it true that Red Bull gives you wings? She really, like the angel saying when you're 5 years old,
That's
she really
cute.
believed that. Yeah.
That's cute.
Yeah.
That's good though. It does give you wings.
Have a great day.
Metaphorically.
I won't tell them. No, poisonous.
Did Copper Club?
Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space. Earth is flat. Free your mind. Earth is flat. Don't trust the government. The governmental wants to control your mental, govern your mental. The government governs your mental on the flat earth. You can't live on a globe, it's biblical. Earth is created without form and void, set upon pillars with a firmament. And the sun and the moon are small lights for the day and the night, not large balls of fire millions of miles away. Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space. Earth is flat. Lake Placid is level. All lakes are measured level and horizontal and parallel to the next lake. Earth is flat, you've been deceived. It's hard, I know. But this is the first day of the rest of your life, realizing that you are the center of creation. You are the reason. You are the purpose for all of this. You are God, expressing yourself in fractal form. You are the creator. Do not believe the deceivers who would have you believe you are insignificant, evolved monkeys. Earth is not spinning, and water is always going to find its level. Earth is flat. Earth is flat. Are you God? Oh, that cheese stick was, what a treat. It's not every day I get offered a treat like that. So yeah, how are you guys? Let me put my glasses on. I can read the chat a little bit better. I'll show you a little bit of obvious mud flood evidence. Mr. Obvious. That's the guy who's saying he's the rising Earth guy. Obviously. Yeah, you saw Bell there, honey. Yeah, that was nice. Yeah,